strap you to the table and explain to you, Mr. Bond, what I am about to do to give you time. It's like, no, just fucking kill him already.
Right. And make sure, don't, laser beams on their heads. You don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I mean, I remember an early thing that Gary was running at a Gen Con years ago, and all these guys would kill these high-level baddies, the hobgoblins and so on, and they crack open their skulls and eat their brains so they couldn't be resurrected.
Oh wow!
And so Gary started having their thoughts stir inside the heads of the players.
See, with a give, there's always a take, right? There's always a give and take there.
And there's no way that could be published because code of conduct. It was like, oh yeah, we'll have little kids chopping the skulls of their next door neighbor all across the United States and eating their brains. That'll go over just fine. So we can't do that. So they never published it because it was like a code of conduct, and you couldn't do any indignities to a dead body. That was part of the code. So torture had to happen before people were on stage, before the adventure, if any. And they used to do the sort of torture is, we have your mother, we have your sister, be a pity if something happened to them. They would do that sort of torture rather than anything. Right,
which innuendo stuff and no details, no graphic. I understand that, yeah. Because I have the same issue coming up with my friend who's DMing a game on the 19th in the morning, Tim, who's, Anna knows, this ex-military guy, and he tries to put, like, real-life crazy stuff. I'm like, Tim, you can't go there, man. You can't. You just can't do it. I mean, especially live streaming. Yeah. So, what's up, Caesar? Thanks, man. So
that's a general problem with villain. Meaning, in order for someone to be a villain, you want him to do despicable things, and then that have a tendency of wanting to be should it be despicable things that can happen in the real world or have happened? Because most despicable things have probably happened sometime in the real world that people are aware of. Otherwise, they would not see it as despicable in the first place. So it's kind of a tricky.
It is
really tricky, especially in times like this when it happens right now in the real world, so to speak. That it's a kind of, but we still want to have that element in our games, and it should be there, just like in other stories and movies and books and whatever.
It should, but you got to know where the line is.
Exactly.
You have to know where the line is.
And how to portray it, because conflict is part of interesting drama that draws you in, and even to be scared and know that.
Yeah, and if you
like
don't have villainy, or if you know the villainy is totally cardboard, I don't really mean it, haha. Then there's no heroism.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
It needs to be believable in some sense, so to speak, and then it's interesting in what sense should it be believable without causing real problems.
What's up, Bones?
Real problems to real.
Lando, Patrick. What's everyone? Oh, we got a hype. When did we get a hype train? Holy jeez.
Yeah.
You have villainy like in the environment and then villainy towards the players.
Yeah.
And I think that's two different levels that you need to work out with players before you start playing. What are you comfortable with?
Oh, thank you.
Okay with watching someone else be, fighting slavers and freeing people from slavery? Or are you okay being enslaved yourself and having to escape from, I would say, a dungeon of said slavers?
And for the first time in my DM career, I felt that I didn't want to do it today. So I kind of stepped dialed down because I was not in the mood, and I never thought that would happen.
Thank you.
And so that was kind of, but also the interesting thing in the fantasy world, you also have dimensions you don't have in the real world. I'm thinking about compulsion magic and
cool
you have
stuff.
insta-death spells and stuff like that. Meaning there are things that don't exist in the real world. So it's kind of interesting. There is a dimension you can kind of work on using, and then it comes into these things like old school magic. You're like, oh, you failed your save, your character is dead, kind of thing, or not, so to speak. Meaning, what kind of hideous fantasy-esque abilities and powers and stuff can you play with?
Thank you so very much there for all those good
villains.
stuff.
Yeah.
You gotta fantasy world, it's a necessity for keeping your sanity. I think with everything. But hey, we'll have this discussion shortly. Staying.
Fantasy's a necessity, officer. That's why I'm wearing these crotchless panties underneath. Yeah,
Seems
right.
like, with all my work with Bald Man Games, part of it is putting content warnings on the front cover, and clearly I need to say, warning, Ed Greenwood will be playing this adventure.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I have to say, in the old days, when it was male-dominated table, everybody would come up with stuff like that at the table, and everybody would just go ha 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 ha, unless somebody's daughter or wife was present, and then they go, hey, nudge nudge,
Yeah, and that's the other meaning. What do we do that are kind of fun and intriguing and challenging without really stepping on someone's toes too obvious? When you have a diverse crowd that plays,
okay.
Slot zeros.
Yeah, and
Working out like the players at one time.
Yeah. So you have to kind of or know you.
Now you see a British person, not to make this geopolitical, but a British person would react to that. Oh, you Americans! That's why your sports games are no fun to watch.
I just realized I don't have my phone.
You practice beforehand. It ruins the fun. Because to them, it's sort of like everybody's in the pub and they get blind drunk, and then let's go play cricket, and all these old men adjust their suspenders, get up from the table, weaving drunk, and go out to play. They haven't practiced beforehand.
Yeah, but it's like you shouldn't peak too much. You should just go and do it right away.
You should just go do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Was it Warcraft 40K that based their space works off of British soccer hooligans?
Yes.
Okay, that always amused me. That they were all just giant football
soccer
clubs.
hooligans is a European phenomenon. I haven't seen it here, but in Europe, it's all over Europe. You have
It's
soccer.
all over.
Yeah, in Sweden. Do you have hockey hooligans in Canada? We have them in Sweden. So.
Yep. Yeah, we have them, and I've seen them in Sweden. Yeah.
Yep.
Goat.
Wow, thank you guys.
I stepped up a subway train in Stockholm once and wondered why there were 800 police with riot gear and German Shepherd dogs, because I actually stepped on the same train as all the hockey hooligans who were going to a game, and the whole station erupted in chaos.
Yep. Oh yeah.
When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they greased the light poles. Climbing.
They still climbed them.
Yeah.
They still did it.
There's
But it was harder.
Yeah, there's some interesting fantasy things you can kind of take inspiration for in your fantasy. I think about what I think about. Mike Bridges had the Nation of All had a special competition where they were riding around and causing mayhem around the mesa that the Ola capital was, and they had a special game.
Thanks, Patrick,
around,
for
and
doing
I guess
that
all
for
the
Eric.
mischief and perfect. A lot of hooligans could probably be watching that game to help that team to kind of stop the other one and stuff. So
Got a special giveaway tonight, special type of giveaway. For the first time, we're going to try something a little different. Plus the Troller Game giveaways, which are going to be, with all this hype train, it's going to be 4 from Troller Games. So,
My goodness.
My goodness.
My goodness has nothing to do with it. You're here for my badness, aren't you?
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I missed the
All
cue.
right.
That's all right. Everyone's getting their books out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm digging into my PDF collection.
I haven't set it up yet, Patrick. You just pulled the Casey Brown roll. That was awesome. Give me a second.
He was first.
Yeah, I'll do it right now. It's not open. It's over here now because of... Well, that's annoying.
How does all things Nords end?
Oh, I have been working on that city now for 2 years.
Oh my, I'm so excited for this city.
And I am I just handed in 5 more city blocks to Andrew today. Normally on a
George.
Sunday evening when I'm not doing this, he phones me after he's finished work for the day, meaning he started drinking. And we go over, what have we got? What does this add to the game? Do I need special sidebars anywhere? Like when you're talking about a city guard. And okay, so how does the city guard patrol? How many people in patrol? What's their normal behavior? If the king isn't antsy about something, how do they normally behave? That sort of thing. So that should go out in the sidebar so the DM can run it. And then of course we're assembling a box set by how many things should be on little cards or sheets of paper just loose in the box, so that they're easy reference for DM. And we might put them on a screen later, but that's a separate product. That sort of thing. So that's where we are. We're in the middle of like 2 years of that.
Because I want to steal your city and put it into the Moonshade, so I don't have to.
Oh, of course!
It's on a
Of
roll
course!
tonight.
I think it could be camera ready.
Oh, it's so close to 5.
Okay, that would work. You see,
Jimmy got us. We're at the top.
from the very beginning of this, I kept telling Andrew, we have to keep telling people, you don't have to go Vikings, you don't have to change and use the nicest gaming we don't want to. You can just steal it for your own campaign. It's a fantasy city. Now, the one weird thing that most North American gamers have to get their heads around is Vikings didn't have surnames. They had patronyms or matronyms or by names. So please, you have to not use it as a surname. If you see a character in front of you that says, I don't know, the Skulljar or Scully Grimson, okay? Skull Grimson is not his last name. It means he's the son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Son or
And
daughters.
Yeah.
we have Northlanders and Moonshades.
Yeah, that's why we have a lot of
Sure.
sons in Swedish and Norwegian
Yeah.
and Danish and Icelandic names today. Son, especially Iceland, they still have that.
Yeah, Iceland still has it that way, and everybody else froze them.
Yep.
But anyway, they have to get used to the fact, and they have to not misinterpret it as saying, "Oh, all these guys are brothers." No, they're not. They all had a father with the same name, but it could be a different guy.
Yeah, but they had clan's name on top of that afterwards.
That's true.
That
Yeah.
were clan's name. So yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
Tom.
But
Thanks,
aside
Tom.
from that one difference that people have to get used to, and they may have to file off the names. And in fact, one of the things we were toying with was a later free download on the website. It's just, okay, if you don't want Viking names because you don't want Viking culture, because you don't want to do that, you don't want this to be historical Dublin and you don't want this to be historical Vikings. You want it to fit into Dragonlance or the Realms or Eberron or your own campaign world that you've already made up. Here are some more middle of the road fantasy names that you can just grab from the table to put on that character. If you don't want patronyms, matronyms, and bynames like we've used them, so you can just use it in any campaign world. And yeah, I fully intend. The whole point of this is it'll be a living city. Apologies to TSR.
No apologies.
I don't mean it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
we will continue to support it on the Patreon. We will continue to put out adventures. We will continue to do news and rumors until we die. Until I'm no longer here, I will be doing news and rumors. So the city feels alive. And we're already stepping outside real history. We've already got King Citric, the One-Eyed King, on the throne for 40 years longer than he was alive in real life. We're signaling right away. We're breaking away from real world history, which means anything can happen at your gaming table. We don't have to follow real world history.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
we are.
Sorry.
That's okay, Ed. I mean, this is great. Starting it off with a little discussion on some other some things that are going on, and thank you everyone for coming tonight. People are just rolling in here still. Welcome, J.K. Lurkazamba. Look at the crew we have tonight. We have Anna Meyer, as always, and we have Eric Menge, who is Moonshades and Living Greyhawk aficionado, right? Amongst other things.
Those are the big ones. And the developer of the notorious Greyhawk Grumbler.
That's it. A wonderful, wonderful publication.
Which I want to bring back so
It would
badly.
be awesome. It would be
And
wonderful.
part-time Faye. Yep.
And part-time,
Oh, yes,
yes.
very fake.
And
is that like waist up, waist down?
I never stand up.
Ed's on a roll tonight. Ed is on a roll tonight, everyone.
When
and
I stand up, I will just slide to the side.
Yeah, I love it. That should be a motto for the next Greyhawk heraldry. Slide to the side.
Slide to the side. Well, we already have the Slav Squad, and we have 2 drink minimum already. So, 2 drink minimum will be back next Saturday. Minus 1 halfling, unfortunately, but we'll have a fun time with that.
Eric, you've got to stop letting real life in.
Yes, you got to stop going on vacations,
it's not
Eric.
really real life. It's the Magic Kingdom, so I don't know if that counts.
No, it does. Family always comes first. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're going down to see family and going to see the House of the Mouse.
That is
nice.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very, very
But
cool.
The halfling is not that much to lose. Literally.
Thank you for the level 5 hype train, everyone. Thank you for the level 5.
When you say that, Eric, that's when I feel old. Because the one time I went to Disneyland was, let's see now, I'm 62, was 51 years ago that I was last in Disneyland.
To say Disney World is only 50 years old, and I know that because they're celebrating their 50th anniversary.
No, not Disney World, Disneyland. Because there was no Disney World then.
Yeah.
It hadn't
California.
been. Yeah.
You should see that. They just opened up their new Star Wars.
Yes.
Dang, that thing looks bonkers. It's a 2-day long Star Wars LARP.
Absolutely. A lot of people are loving going to that. I've heard. In fact, I know some.
Well, you see, I feel I got ripped off because in those days, the brand new thing was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep.
That was the brand new thing. And now it's aimed at older and older kids, as in you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're fans of all this stuff that's come since, like the Star Wars thing. Whereas when I went, it was like really, Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy, and that was sort of it. Because they hadn't done any of this fun stuff, so I feel ripped off.
The Pirates of the Caribbean actually reminds me of something that ties into our subject tonight of villains.
Yeah.
They redid the show, the Pirates Ride, where I don't know if you remember the auction scene where they had the lovely lass being auctioned off.
Yep.
Well, that's just really distasteful, and so all Imagineers put their heads together, took one problem and solved another problem. They changed her to a lady pirate, and now she's selling off all the chickens. So they invented a whole new villain for the ride. Red.
Oh, that was foul!
Yeah,
poultry.
Villains are the answer. If all else fails, make another villain.
Another
and you
good
get yourself a lady
villain.
pirate.
Oh, look at that segue.
Yes.
It's almost like he knows how to do this.
Dragging us back to villainy.
Speaking of villains, I don't know if this qualifies, but so, as a partner, I got all these new emotes slots now, and I made a new series. I took myself back in time on here, and it's 80s J, okay, when I was in my glory. So as you can see, there's a series of 80s J, the Mind Games one that Bones wanted so bad, and a couple others. There you go. So I got they're the newest emotes for everyone to mess around with. Yes, I know Bones is in love with the Mind Games one, so there you go. I
gotta find your emotes here.
Yeah, so Mind Games. I got cool beer, Jay with the beer. Yeah, I got all sorts of funny stuff in there now. So tonight we're gonna chat up about villains, some specifics, and then talk about how play style and some other things. Wow, you just threw that right out there, didn't you? Right away there, David Leonard. Is Morning Kane a villain? I say absolutely not. I think that's overblown. I think that's a recent Watsy thing. I don't think so at all. What do you, Eric, Ed, Anna? We'll take that one up right off the bat, and then we'll go from there.
I will say.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, I was just going to say one thing right off the bat, because this applies to all villains. If somebody's off their nut, if somebody's insane, we have to regard their villainy as differently.
Okay.
And I don't mean are they saying because they twirl their mustache and cackle? I mean, we know that Mordenkainen was off his nut. He was mentally damaged, and
Okay.
in the TSR thing, Elminster, for God's sake, was nursing him back to health. That's not something I would do. I mean, I wouldn't trust anybody to Elminster. So, I mean, we have to regard him differently.
Okay.
Anyway,
Fair enough. That's good. That's a great point.
I walked all over Anna. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. And I was just going to try and have a basic definition a little bit,
Good.
because I like to have them for myself. And meaning, if you want to categorize things and now I'm talking specifically about NPCs and monsters and stuff. Meaning, you have the heroes and the villains, and then you have somewhere in between who are the boring stuff, or just there as fillers, so to speak. The ones that bring the story in any particular direction are kind of usually villains or their heroes. They either help the party and the characters and so on in a helpful direction for them. Now, presuming that the characters and the party play good ones, so to speak, or you have villains that push the story against the party and against the characters, so to speak. And that is, to me, the kind of the basic definition. And then you need some NPCs who are just there, but those are the insignificant ones that just the main ones for the story. They are either villains or heroes, so to speak. And I don't see, but it's so cool that you bring up Mordenkainen, because I have a problem. He's one of the few that I don't really see as either a hero or a villain, but still someone who could play. So I was just going to say, he kind of breaks that rule, and to me, it's an interesting case, so to speak. And then you have some that could be chaotic and chaos enough that they can go from being helpful sometimes and villainous sometimes. And if you want to take that active neutrality thing that seems to be so prevalent in Greyhawk, that means that someone like Mordenkainen can literally be helpful and heroic on the party side, and then realize that, the party's getting way too powerful. We need to cut them a little bit and cut them down to size or something. So, or vice versa. So I don't know if that's interesting or just confusing to players. I'm not sure.
I think it's ultimately interesting, because what you're saying is, if you have real power, like a wizard, a powerful wizard, what are you going to do with it? And the real power is, I'm going to do what I want. Which means somebody like Mordenkainen ends up as morally gray, because he's just making his own choices. And he might be the sort of guy who says, I'm not a villain. I've just looked at the situation long and hard, a lot longer and harder than, quote, you have, and I've come to this decision. So we're just disagreeing on the way the world should head. And I have the power. It would be villainous of me not to use my power to steer the world in the way I want it to be, because I can see it so much better than all of you. Sort of thing.
Because one of the natures of D&D is the leveling up thing, which means that powerful player characters are by nature new to their power level, so to speak. They come from humble beginnings, and then they're elevated up.
Gary Kahn live. Sorry for that, Anna, for the interruption. Wow, thank you so very much. I guess I got Matt, Casey, Matt, and Jimmy Duffy, and Jason Charles Miller, and the whole crew over there watching over there. And we got Ed Greenwood tonight, everyone, and Eric Menge tonight, and we're talking villains. Hang out. We got a ton of giveaways. Have some fun and participate in this discussion. We're going to have 2 special giveaways from Eric knows about this. A lot of people don't know about this. This is not Forgotten Realms, and this is an Ed Greenwood publication, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah. This is with D&D, and this was we've bought the realms. Ed, you need to learn how we do modules. So, do this module for us. And you have 3 or 4 days.
Plus 4 other giveaways.
Oh, wow.
Luke Gygax, what's going on, Luke?
Hello.
Luke, and also Luke is Luke's character, Eleator, the son of Melf, or as we joke, Smelf, played in the last 2 drink minimum game and found a very powerful sword. And Eric's character got the very powerful short bow in that, and we continue that. Look at this. Thanks, Luke. We continue this next Saturday with special guests, the actor Todd Stashwick coming in, will be playing a cousin of Eleator, and that's how named Morton Didiff, and that's how we get Todd in the game. What a fun week we got coming up. So hang out and have some fun, everyone. So here's how we're going to do this. These special giveaways. Eric and Ed are going to say hints of a villain. Ed will do Forgotten Realms. Eric will do Greyhawk. When that happens, if you guess wrong, you're done. You get one guess, but the first person that gets it right will get one of these for each of them. Okay,
Wow.
but you get one shot. If you mess up and get it wrong, that's
I'm
then
so
you're
glad
out.
I'm not answering.
Don't throw away your shot.
Fair enough. Yeah. So it's going to be a blast. We're going to have a fun time tonight with this discussion. All right. So Anna, villains are important, and you're right. You got to figure out how they fit into your game. So
Yeah, because they're one of the, if you look at it from a story narrative perspective, so to speak, they're one of the cornerstones of adventure. Meaning you have locations, and then you have the physical magical nature of monsters and the abilities and stuff. But then you have that kind of the story element, the villainy of it, so to speak, or the heroic. That is a key point to look at. And I think Mordenkainen is so interesting because he's one of these that kind of breaks the mold. He's not stereotypical in villainy or in being a heroic force to help the party, so to speak. And I'm not digging deep into alignment. I simply assume villains are the ones that try to thwart the characters into what they want to accomplish, and the heroes are the ones trying to help the characters or trying to thwart the villains to and so forth. So I try to, in this day, just this moment, I think that's a good definition, at least for myself right now, to say that villains are there to thwart the characters into accomplishing what they set out to do, so to speak.
So how do you, are all villains antagonists, or are all antagonists villains?
No, they should not be all the time.
Good question.
Yeah, and it's a good question. And I think that the old saying that your enemy's enemy is your friend is one of these things that could be really helpful and cool in this way. You should build, it should not be a simple black and white world. That in some instances that's fun, but I think at least I like to complicate it a little bit and have elements of my enemy's enemy is my friend, because that makes it a little bit more on your toes. The players need to think about their actions might change who is actually a villain on their side or not, so to speak, and that could vary, and we want to have and we don't want to know right away. It's a little bit like a murder mystery. You don't want to know who the masked villain is from the start of the campaign. Sometimes you should know, oh, that's the big villain, like I use it in my campaign. He's the big baddie, and he will continue to be the big baddie for the whole campaign. But then there are others that we can't be sure about. Are they his henchmen? Are they someone else's henchmen, etc.? So I think it should be ambiguous to some part. That makes a good story, I think.
And Anna has a habit of having.
Oh yeah, I'm over analyzing things, so I'm sorry.
No. What I'm saying is Anna's baddies, like Rakunis, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they took him out, right? The first fight,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. And then I was that sneaky that I built in a kind of a little safeguard to keep him in my pocket in the future. I built that in by design, so to speak. But I never thought I had to use it on session 2 or from session 3 or first or second, or I think it was the second session. Instead, I thought it would happen when they were 5th level or something, and then I can use him again when they were 10th level or something. But
wasn't
now
that
I have
Knights of the dinner table plot where they killed his villain in the first episode of the first session, and the entire campaign was done?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yep. And that means that then for DM, how many villains do you need in a campaign? Meaning, and how often? Meaning, should you do like you do or in the Game of Thrones, that you need to kill off half the cast every 3rd session, so to speak, or do you keep them and guard them jealously and only kill them off at the very end, so to speak?
New tits! I've seen these tits before.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sorry.
It's on a roll tonight, everyone.
Yep.
It's gonna be a good one tonight.
It's awesome. Yep.
So
I think he is off work and started drinking.
Yeah,
yeah, we haven't seen that diet.
I'm glad I got this new tier 3 80s J some emote with the
oh,
no
there
just
we go,
no.
Dr.
There you
Pepper.
go.
Now we're going.
Spikes Dr. Pepper.
The hard stuff. No,
I hope you enjoyed being an affiliate, Jay. It was
it was fun while it lasted.
Oh yeah, the partner thing. Well, see, the gentleman who just posted below, the ever mysterious Tim, said earlier, villains are different than antagonists. I agree 100%, but he's the one I got to worry about getting a 30-day ban for him in a couple weeks. So I told you guys that beforehand, but that's Tim for you, and that's why we have a Tim head, because there's no crit that Tim does not love, right? Yes, that we use the multiple Tim heads here. So Ed's promised 4 new villains, 3 for Forgotten Realms, 1 for Greyhawk as well at some point during the night. Wow, we got a lot to discuss. So let's pick one and just start with someone maybe obscure. We're gonna try and stay away from the really, really obvious ones, you know. So Eric, throw one out there for us, and then we'll have Ed throw one out there, and then what do you think? Go for it.
Sure.
For a villain of Greyhawk. So
villain of Greyhawk.
We went through the usual litany, where we have a Vecna, we have the Kos, Serac, I use Igwil, and we're going down the list to try to find some lesser known villains. And one of the ones I really like are the villains from the Slave Lord series.
Yes.
Yes, I got
Solomon Klim, Theg Narlot, and the Marquesa of many colors.
Yeah, all good.
And she solves your problem of, what happens when you kill your villain too early? We got more. Okay. There are plenty of Marquesas to choose from.
Plus, our great friend Carlos Lysing did 3 whole modules with Marquesas post-Slave Lords too. So Anna's actually playing them. I have them all. I haven't played them yet. Another thing, I'm gonna. This is a shameless plug for Carlos, but I'm going to be streaming this shortly too. This is Slippery Keta, Sly Keta he calls her, and a new adventure he just wrote, Thicker Than the Water. Ooh. So yes, I'm going to be streaming this. So Slave Lords.
Did any of them die at the end of A4? Or did they all get out of there?
It all depends on your point of view. But here's a picture of the Slave Lords from the Chris Pramis, Sean Reynolds book, right? So you have Theg Narlet, you have Abe the Half Ogre. You have a fallen Paladin of Maheen in this group. You got all sorts of crazy stuff in this group, which is really neat. So it's a fun group. And Stallman Klim is the head of the Priest of the Earth Dragon. It's a good set of villains, absolutely. And this is all Wayne Reynolds artwork. It's some of the best artwork that ever came out. And I tell the story multiple times because it hurts so much. I went to Gen Con in 2019 and I met him and I'm like, I said, I don't care how much this is. This is the Marquesa Devon picture. See, War 99. I said to him, whatever that is, if you're selling that original, I want to buy it because I love that so much. He's like, it's gone. They're all destroyed. I was like, break my heart on that. I mean, just because that's what they did back in those days. They didn't keep the original artwork. I'd noticed that probably very well. Yep. So but Marquesa
just trace it and make a new one.
Well, just scan it, but just have an original. Have an original.
Marquesa would be like,
nice.
Yes, that's how you.
But what a wonderful.
That's one of the reasons certain people, Todd Lockwood, etc., said, "Oh, digital? I'm going digital," because then they can never do that to me again.
Right. Here is another, if I may go off on a tangent from the Slavers book. And he just was up. What a wonderful villain this guy is. And he should have popped. Did he pop up there? No, he didn't. Here, let me see if I can get him up here. Henrid Blerick. Now, this guy is in a small Wyvernon. He's in a small town of Wyvernon. He's a priest of Hextor. Okay? He has a group behind him, a group of evil gnomes. But they slaughter every orc that comes within 10 miles of the place. And there's only like 150 in this little village. And he is vilely evil, but he hates those humanoids even more. And they are holding out against the invasion up the Wild Coast. So is he a villain?
Depends on you see it relative, meaning everybody who's against me are evil and villain is towards me or not. So you can define, meaning that's one of the age-old tropes in role-playing games, how to define it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'll leave that to each campaign maker and DM and his or her group to kind of but I think that we should have a little bit of a broader spectrum than the black and white, so to speak. It should be various gray areas.
Sure.
That makes the game, at least from my perspective, more interesting, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely, Anna.
Yeah.
Like this guy conscripts everyone in the village. I mean, there's no men, women, children. Everyone's fighting here. So is that, so there are levels of gray, and I agree 100%.
And also that the nature of good, meaning I can see good doesn't mean you're a pacifist or stuff like that, meaning we can just look at the real world today and say that the ones that we kind of it's
Eric Boyd's on, everyone.
Good in the game to have these kind of we want to be playing for fun, so to speak. So it needs to be an outlet, so to speak. I think that's one of the main reasons we do play, and that's why we want villains, so we have something to fight, so to speak. And
well, that's why I like the slave lords, because they're doing de facto naughty things, and it's kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark throws in Nazis, because we just automatically know Nazis are the villain. We don't need to have a lot of explanation. The slave lords are enslaving people. That makes them therefore I can fight them with a clean conscience. Yeah, and then so sometimes having things clear. There are times for gray, but also I think there's time for there are clear cuts, and I need to put put my boot up the backside of a bunch of people.
And the interesting thing, that doesn't necessarily, even just because someone is pure evil, do really despicable stuff, doesn't necessarily mean that you're a top villain. And I have one example that is from I Use the Evil that I think is kind of interesting in this way, and that's Nismayan the Hierarch. He's one of the surviving hierarchs of Horn Society that survived the after I Use, and he hides up in the Fellery forest somewhere looking for a Flan necropolis to find to use the old dead ones to bring back against the fight against Ayus, which means that he's a cleric of priest of Nerul, and he's looking for undead, so he's clearly an evil villain, cookie cutter evil villain that way. But his role in the campaign doesn't necessarily need to be that, because if you are a party of heroes out to wreak havoc to Ayus and his other henchmen, all of a sudden you might end up on the same side as this said Nismayan the Hierarch. And that could be both interesting, terrifying, or rewarding, or the other doom, depending on, so to speak. So that's the kind of the moral high or low grounds I like to operate in my campaigns a little bit in those areas, so to speak.
He's definitely evil. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Exactly, but his role in the campaign is not necessarily evil, especially towards the characters. Their goals might be very overlapping, so to speak.
That's a good point.
And so it's and he's an interesting example of taking something that is cookie cutter evil, but make sure you weave a larger web of stories and complexity to your campaign. That means that certain cookie cutter evils doesn't necessarily need to be cookie cutter evil in the grand scheme of things. Yeah.
And that's one of the
BB Fan Fun, I have an example.
Great things you can do later on.
Later on, I'll show you.
When the player characters
Tino
have some experience in the campaign. It doesn't matter necessarily what level they are, but as players, they've had some experience. Start giving them those. We have to work together. This guy's a complete worm, but to protect the kingdom, we have to work together. Will we hold our noses and work with this guy? We have to. Or do we have to?
Exactly. Or will that said horrible cookie cutter villain thing that we now cooperate with, will he murder us in our sleep and use us as undead for his cause, or something?
No, naturally.
But that's when you do he's going to turn on us. He's going to betray us. The question is when. And so can we achieve this thing that we mutually want to achieve first? And that can be some of the most fun play.
Because I'm sorry.
No. You go on.
I was going to say, because the interesting thing is, then you need to, as a party, you need to steer within certain, meaning you need to keep him happy so you don't screw it up because you need him. But on the other hand, so you have to steer clear of certain things and tolerate other things, and it becomes difficult and interesting in that way. So yeah.
Great one. So look at that. We got down like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 right there. Eric, Anna, and myself, all interrelated. Perfect. So now we bounce to the FR, the Forgotten Realms there. And Ed, all right, here we go.
It's all happiness. There are no villains in FR.
Okay. So do you need me to give you a clue now?
Oh, let's do the first clue, everyone. Remember, if you guess and you guess wrong, you're not guessing again. And my photographic memory hopefully will remember. So here comes the first. And this is outside of the giveaways to get one of these endless stairs. Okay, and that's addition to the 4 Troller game giveaways we have, which is your choice of a PDF or a Fantasy Ground adventure from Troller Games. Open choice, which is really cool. So, yep, give us a hint there.
Ooh, look at that cover that just popped up. Clue number 1. I killed my older brother in a tomb.
Wow. Okay. Remember, if I see anyone guessing and you go you get it wrong, it's exclamation point drawing for the giveaway. All right? So there you go. For the general one. All right? It's that. It's exclamation point drawing. I spelled it wrong. Eric Boyd, Elminster's brother. Well, there, Eric, you're out. Or is it Elminster's brother? I don't know.
Nope.
Oh my gosh! Someone already got it on the first one. Oh my gosh! That
doesn't surprise me at all.
George Krashos, you are correct. It's Manshun. 1 time. Oh, there goes this down the drain.
Of course. Of course.
Oh my gosh, George.
Yeah.
You got it.
That's insider ball.
Wow.
Cheating.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay.
That's good.
Look, somebody should get a reward for all his years of tireless Realms work. So
that's true.
Yes.
Okay.
That's dead on.
Okay.
All those years on Candle, keep typing the answers out on the forums.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome. So, just George, whisper me your. I'm assuming George Krasos is your real name. If it is, just whisper me your address, and I will send that out. So, hey, it's all good. So, all right. So, tell us about Manshun, please. I know about Manshun's Zorn Talons. That spell. I remember that spell, but I don't remember much beyond.
Manshun founded the Zentrim.
Okay.
And he duped everybody all the way along the thing. He duped Fazul. He also he had endless clones. Richard Lee Byers, who wrote some great books in the Realms, once made the joke, "In my father's house there are many Manshuns," because Manshun was like endless clones, stasis clones. He had like 60 of himself stashed away. The only problem is,
60?
It was the Manshun that he was when he created the clone. So if you kill him, it's a younger, lower in level, lower in spells, lower in knowledge Manshun that comes back, and he doesn't know anything that happened since he went into stasis. So Manshun actually had a secret thing that I used to do where he'd go around and kill his oldest clones and replace them with the newer model because he didn't want to be so out of it. Let me just give 2 more clues.
Yeah, please.
Because they're interesting, even though we know who it is now. Mistra made me personal offers thrice. I refused Mistra thrice. And then there's this one. An organization within an organization within an organization should provide enough distraction for casual foes.
Okay. Wow. Well, that is awesome, Ed. And I guess you have a good relationship with George, so...
yeah. George is one of the lore lords of the realm.
Okay.
And Eric Boyd is another.
Yes. Eric is... and it's so... I am so blessed that I have all of you 3, and Eric Boyd, and Tony, and our special guest going in and DMing. It's such fun. So, like I said, next Saturday night we'll have another 2-drink minimum game. And Eric is just that. Oh, we're gonna die. Half ogre is hysterical. That Telegor stunk Nord. Yep. Just
no worries, Helagor, we'll take them out. We have halfling optimism.
Patrick hooked them up with a sub there, so there we go. Yep.
But I love it that George just said, "Oh, screw it."
Yeah, right for the jugular. That was awesome. All right, how about another one? Give us another villain.
Another villain?
Yeah, give us another villain.
Do you want one of the new ones?
Yeah, let's do it. One of the four new ones now. Sure.
Okay.
Because Ed will give this to me in a format.
Yeah.
I'll convert it to PDF, and whoever wants it, I will be more than happy to give it to you.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, but what you'll get this time around, folks, is not like detailed stats and everything. It's what they are as a character, so you can, do it up yourself.
Awesome.
So let me mention one guy, one villain. So this is a guy based in Selgaunt, the city in Sembia, and this is the sort of villain he is. He's the ultimate swindler / financial crusher of others, an exploiter of adventurers, and he's ruthless but quiet about it. So think of an Anthony Hopkins villain. Okay, he's that sort of guy. He's cultured, he's quiet. He's not a two-fist sort of guy. He's this guy is called Mandaril Harlock. He's worked as a butler for some nobles and a seneschal for others. He inwardly despises nobles unless they're self-made, i.e. they earn their status as opposed to inheriting it. He cheerfully manipulates all of Sembia's self-styled nobles around him, seeing them as arrogant, blind to their own faults and weaknesses, fools. He's the ultimate player in terms of our modern real world, meaning he uses other people's money, like a vulture fund or a market short seller. He ruins and crushes others as he skims ever more for himself. He's quite capable of toying and abasing himself to sway the gulls, as he calls them. He's manipulating and fleecing. He's currently controlling a lot of politics in rebuilding Serloon and Selgaunt and siphoning money from certain nobles in Cormyr, certain shady merchant lords in Westgate and in Tezir, some wandering red wizards, and local to Sembia, Zentrim agents. So think middle-aged human male, blonde hair, handsome, urbane, quiet, purring voice and impeccable manners, glides quietly along, the perfect servant, capable of melting into the background or staying still and silent with perfect patience for long periods. There you go. There's number one.
Awesome. So who he kind of reminds me of, but on a more of a forceful scale, Eric, and that is Gloretti Buchanan, the tax collector, the lawful evil dwarven tax collector in Free City Greyhawk. But this guy sounds much more devious, like he wants to ruin people, where Gloretti wants to get the money to fill the coffers. So
I'm thinking of one of
Gloretti so much.
I was thinking one of the Seven or the Overking in Karlstrand. One of his top henchmen, that I think that Darman greedy, Darman kind of silcious guy or something like that would be.
So
yeah,
George was kind enough to redonate back the module in chat. So thank you. So we don't have one planned, so I'm going to have to do it because we have to coordinate because I'm watching the chat. So here we go. Hint number one. My time came too quickly. Okay. That's hint number one for a villain. My time came too quickly. All right. Thank you very much, George, for that. And is this guy interested in crypto in the realms? It sounds like it, Paul. Absolutely. And I'll give more out. I'm going to Discord the group so that we know who this is. In here, so we don't go over this one, Eric, because I know we were going to discuss this one. All right, I'm putting it in there now. All right. All right, there we go. Just you.
Oh yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
It's
All
a
right.
good one.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, cool.
That
So,
tracks. So I want to tell you about the villainy of Gloretti, though. and
yeah,
why
do
my
it.
party
Yeah,
hates him
absolutely.
So much.
Gordy Buchanan from Free City Greyhawk. Yeah.
So he has enough. He had enough lean on some clerics. Every morning they cast a divination to find out if any adventurers are going to be entering the city with a large treasure haul. And if the answer comes back yes, he finds out what time and which gate. And then has a revenue collection agency team there at the gate ready for the players to tax them 25% and 1 out of every 4 magic items as they pass into the gates into the city. And the players hate this so much. It's fantastic.
Okay.
As he tells them, these roads don't pave themselves.
There
The
are
walls have to be maintained, public safety. And she proceeds to shake down all the players, and they find out that the town is very unsympathetic towards them because if the players are getting taxed, it keeps the taxes on everybody else kind of low.
Sure.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
so
it
they keep
is.
trying to figure out which gates to go to and whether or not they can do bank services outside. All sorts of ways to get around it. Oh, Gloretti's great.
Number one, in my opinion, we're talking Greyhawk. I don't
Mhm.
because I don't want Ed slapping me down again like he did on Twitter about a month ago. But
Oh, you got the Ed slap too?
oh yeah, I did. It was hysterical.
They got it.
I got it good, but it was very kind as well. So Free Secret Box Set, top publication of all time. We will have Malden on for his update for the map in a couple weeks as well, which will make it even better. So, Anna, give us a villain.
Yeah, I was going to go for something that meaning we have monsters in our games. We have classical monsters that we just take out of the monster book, but and that is good and fine, but how do you just take a regular monster and make it into a villain? And I think one of the key aspects there is the role that the creature plays in the world, so to speak. And in my Reldevin campaign, I had the Black Splinter. You have a vampire necromancer that lives in a castle in a fairly good area. He's the evil old uncle that hates everybody, but he's still useful for the family because he kind of if he hates others intruders more than he hates the family, so he kind of
awesome.
They keep him around because he's kind of useful, and it's damn difficult to get rid of a 350-year-old 20th level necromancer vampire, so to speak. They have a tendency of lingering, so to speak, and but he's lazy like most vampires and big villains. He needs someone to kind of keep an eye on the backyard and do the gardening, so to speak, but from a necromancy villainy perspective. Someone to fill the larders, someone to get rid of those pesky weeds that tend to come in and disturb things, and also make sure that those things that come in and disturb come all the way into the castle and become part of the experimentation or the dinner table or sure entertainment. And what do? Yeah, you recruit a night hag that has some necromancy level, so they can kind of select what's good spicing and seasoning and whatnot, and you let them have a hut in your backyard, and they skulk around your kind of estate, so to speak, and look for adventures and things that generally just dwindle or wanders into your domain, and kind of cook them, make them into ingredients, sell them, or something. So Ishma is the name of this night hag, and she runs a little place. And because she's not paid very well, and vampire overlords tend to be kind of, they're mean in when it comes to chintzy. Exactly, that's the word. Thank you. So they don't pay that well. So she needs to have multiple jobs, and she's not particularly moral about who she serves or whatever. So half of her job is to make sure that she cleans up the backyard and the surroundings and bring in interesting things. And the other one, she has side jobs on the side. So, and she has some necromancy levels, and she has attracted helpers. So she has like a bunch of hags and a hag coven and their job is to go out and grab anything that is alive and screaming well enough to be interesting and bring it into their little thing. And then they make magical components out of them and stuff like that. And she realized that it's perfect. You send out, she hired some goblins to advertise for her component business, and so they can go out to big city and tell that if you're a Magic user and you want weird stuff, and especially if you want nasty weird stuff that they don't sell in Good-Hearted Lands, you come to the Fang and you can get it. And the good thing is that if someone is powerful enough and have money, then they buy Ishma will sell the ingredients. If they don't have that much money and not that powerful, she will make them the ingredients. So it kind of works out either way, so to speak. And then she does. So her job is to be scavenger, small-time crook, and just general nuisance in the area, so to speak, and terrifying it at the same time, and have a little bit of fun in her as well. So there was the role of the monster, and the environment were the keys, so to speak, in it, rather than it was not the stats or that she was anything particular. She's a cookie cutter night hag with a couple of extra levels and some underlings that thugs that do it, but she's a kind of a cookie cutter monster. But it's the role in the setting that I think could be fun and add to the campaign.
Awesome one, Anna. And that's one that not throwing out your everyday villain. That's a good thing. You want to try and delve a little deep here.
Yeah,
so,
I thought just the placement in your setting and in your story and in your narrative is a critical part of a villain's how successful they could be, so to speak.
Let's head to the Forgotten Realms, but let's head to the Moonshays, Eric.
Oh.
Eric gave me some unbelievable artwork from these characters. I want to know about the one that's the Slain.
The Slain.
Oh yeah. I want to know about this lady. Cool. I want to know about her. Yes.
Well, major spoilers. Yeah. So if you're ever going to play the Rising Shadows storyline with Ballman Games Adventurers League, go away for about 5 minutes. Because this is a major spoiler. So this is our major villain for the campaign arc that we did. And she is drawn from Doug Niles' book in that she is Deirdre Kendrick.
Okay.
Whom Alicia Kendrick, who becomes the Druid Queen of the Moonshays, kills at the end of the Druid Home trilogy. Stabs a sword through her and kills her on Ice Peak. Now, it did happen at the time that Deirdre was possessed by Talos at the moment and was acting as the sword of the new gods against the Earth Mother, who had invested her power into Robin Kendrick, Alicia, and Deirdre's mother. And so Deirdre was trying to murder her own mother at the time, when Alicia, as far as I can tell, panicked and stabbed her mom, stabbed her sister, her younger sister, who was all of 19 at the time. And then there's about half a dozen pages of falling action, and then everything goes on as Doug wraps up the whole story, because I think he hit page count.
Right.
Yeah. Story team and I, with Savannah and Tony, thought about this, and we said, we think there's more story here. And so we decided, in good old-fashioned D&D tradition, we're bringing her back, and we're bringing her back badder.
Awesome.
So she's now been infused with the power of the Shadowfell, and since we can't make up stat blocks, we just use that of a lich.
Okay.
And she still carries the ethereal sword.
Right through
an ethereal sword through her chest that is the one that her sister used to stab her, because she has a giant chip on her shoulder about the kinslaying. And she believes that she is the rightful queen of the Moonshays and orchestrates a Shadowfell invasion of the Moonshays, using her power as a Kendrick to circumvent all the wards on Caer Caladir, the capital. And also since she also has Kendrick blood, and the daughter of Robin, she is quite capable of tainting the Moonwells and transforming them into dark wells, which she does.
Oh, you are really, really naughty with this character. I love it.
So we had 20 trilogies.
I love it.
We don't tell you who she is until 11. And that entire trilogy of 3 adventures, so 12 hours of play, is you trying to work your way into the court of the slain, befriending the slain sworn, and eventually getting access to the personal chambers where you start going through the shadow memory haunted halls of Kendrick and starting to get flashbacks that we drew from the novels of all the scenes when Deirdre got smacked hard by her own family. And you get to see why she has those shards in her, because after Kane, who ends up marrying Alicia at the end of the book in those 6 pages of Falling Action, is hired as the tutor, magic tutor for Deirdre, and he says, "Oh, there's a black hole in your heart. I can't teach you anymore. You're too evil," and turns her away. Well, that, of course, in Star Wars tradition, immediately allows the dark side of the Force to come swooping in and says, "Oh, you want to learn magic? We can teach you magic." And this one was a agent of Talos whose last name starts with an M, and I'm blanking on it at the moment. Gives her a magic mirror that she uses to scry on everybody.
Mirror.
Yeah.
And however, she uses that mirror to eventually turn on the agent of Talos, whose name I'm completely forgetting, and this is cheesing me off. Malawar. That's it. I remember it now. Malawar. And uses it to slay him, but Talos then causes the mirror to explode, and all the shards of glass puncture into her skin. This is all in the novel, by the way, and infuse the power of Talos into her, corrupting her and making her the hand of the new gods, or possibly a chosen of Talos. I wasn't quite clear on that one. Maybe they hadn't solidified what chosen were in the realms at that point in time. Ed might be able to help with that.
Yes,
but so we have all those shards of glass.
It's a great artwork. Great artwork, great story. Wow, that's
was done by Veronika Fedorova, who is a Ukrainian living in Sweden at the moment.
Okay.
And did a lot of our art for us.
It's beautiful.
And so after the part, now what I really loved about this one is after the party found out that the slain, the foe of everything that they have been fighting, for the first 10 adventures, is the sister and therefore the great aunt of the High King Queen of Moonshays, and is a Kendrick herself. They come back with all that information and we had a big interactive at Gen Con to determine what we should do about her. And I gave all the players a choice, and it was a massive political intrigue interactive. And the players got to push the various factions into how they wanted the second half of the campaign to go, because they had written out 3 different ways that the campaign would go. And one of them is, she's irredeemable and evil. We should kill her. Second one is, there's still good in her somewhere. We're going to go find it and try to redeem her. And the last one is, she actually has a point. The Earth Mother as a primal spirit is very unstable. And if we fuse her with other people, with other entities, between the fairy, this would be High Lady Ordolph of Fairy, Deirdre Kendrick, the Slain of the Shadowfell, and the Earth Mother of the Prime Material, it would create a very stable symbiosis of 3 different creatures that would be less prone to corruption and the massive power fluctuations that the Earth Mother does as just a primal spirit.
Nice.
That one almost won. I think people thought it was so weird, they didn't know what to do with it, and they wanted to see what would happen. But
the fatal flaw. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, why not?
You know, I
believe we call that the Robilar technique.
Yes.
You know, a good villain.
Let's kick the can over and find out what happens.
You know, a good villain when it's memorable.
And so the party decided that he wanted to redeem her. So the second half of the campaign was trying to break the Slains from out of Talos's control, restoring her humanity. And the whole time you were being helped by the Song of the Earth Mother, which turned out to be the spirit of Alicia Kendrick, who had come back and was unable to get final rest until she had settled things with her sister. And so the party had a ghost companion that was helping them through the second half of the campaign to teach them, to show them the paths of where they need to do and what they need to do. But she couldn't do it herself, being a ghost.
That's awesome.
And the end of the entire campaign was set in the Castle of Mirrors, which is inside Deirdre's head. And the way you got into it is you had to take the unicorn horn of one of the children of the Earth Mother, the unicorn, infuse it with 4 heart shards of Deirdre's heart that she hid away from Talos, so it wasn't corrupted by him, and then take that, confront the slain on Ice Peak, and use the horn as a spike right into her chest, and that's into her brain you went. And then you had to go help her fix her psyche. And that was our campaign of Rising Shadows. As I said, major spoilers.
Cool.
Very, very awesome. I'm glad I asked on that one.
Yeah, but spoilers, we need to tell some spoilers here. Otherwise, you have to put villain in context, so to speak. So if you want to be useful, so it's good. Yeah.
At the end, we did let the players take another vote to what happens to Deirdre. Because when we ruled that when she came back as she was whenever Talos corrupted her, which is a 5th level wizard. So the mage out of the 5e book. Mm-hmm. And the players at the end of the campaign got to have a choice of what happens to Deirdre. And choices we gave them were execution, banishment, make amends, or trial. And understand, because she messed up the Moonshaves pretty good. I was prepared to kick that one down to the next story arc as Deirdre stands trial for her crimes as the slain. Weirdly enough, the players didn't choose that one. They went for amends. So now she's working for Flamstered.
Huh.
Whom Ed was going to give me all sorts of information for.
That might not be amends. I
thought of her as kind of like the secret agent who is giving a secret agent quest giver, because she can't show her face in the Moonshaves, but she's trying to make things better. And Flamstead is giving her what she always wanted, which was a route to power and self-fulfillment that she never got under Kane and her mother and father's household.
Nice.
Okay, I already gave hit number 1 for my special secret villain.
Ooh, I wonder what it is.
Death was before my time. Number 2, it is a surprise who I worship. Okay, that's hint number 2. All right.
Will you tell us which realm it's in?
Yeah, please.
Is it Greyhawk?
Do you think I know? I'm sorry. Do I know anything at all about Forgotten Realms?
I don't know that.
I know nothing about Forgotten Realms whatsoever. Yeah.
But Jay, if it was Forgotten Realms, that would be the ultimate foxing us all.
Okay, yes, it would, but I'm not. I'm not that crafty, Ed. I just wanted to throw it out there. Weirdo, you are out. And Clavder is incorrect. You are out. X and Dale is just. And Dale Assure is just joking. He's out. Gilgamesh, no, out. Monkey Tino out. 491 Phantom out. So nope, none of those are correct. None of those are correct. This is very obscure, and you need to know your early history here. Swedish Chef, that's it. All right, Ed, let's hit us up with another Forgotten Realms one, and then we'll do some Greyhawk ones.
Oh, a new great new.
Oh, we'll do another new one. That sounds awesome.
Okay, sure. Okay, so let's go to another one, and let's go a gal this time, and a gal in Afkatla.
Okay.
Her name is Chase Darflair, and she was a witch, in quotation marks, under another name, her birth name, in her home village when she was a teen, because she realized it was best to hide her gift, her magical abilities, too late. What she actually is a sorcerer, but these days she keeps her abilities very well hidden, so people won't mind coming within her reach. She works at a private brothel, which is to say a mansion owned by a wealthy aging widow who hit upon a way to keep having an income after her wealthy husband died, and she discovered she didn't know enough about all of his intricate business interests and ownerships to stop his business associates from stealing most of it before she knew it was missing. So this widow, Emera Thalanter, rented out rooms in her palatial mansion to various lady escorts to live in and work in. Emera charges them fair rents, and for that provides bouncers, her own house guards, and pays all the city taxes and fees, and the escorts, 11 of them now, live off the books in the city, keeping all they make after they meet Emera's rent. It's a very sweet deal for them, and they know it. For her part, Chase likes successful, wealthy male merchants. And what she does when she has a client is she uses her powers to put a suggestion in the client's mind during all the fun and games. She uses these mental manipulations to not only make them like and trust her, so if she ever needs aid, she can run to her pick of all of these former clients, but to influence them into investing in X and working against Y, where X is a venture that Chase has invested in, and Y is a rival or impediment to that venture. So she has fun in bed with clients. She enjoys the gifts, mainly fine wines and liqueurs, chocolates, and other sweets that they bring her, and she increasingly controls what they do to make her richer and richer, and shift Athkatla's politics more and more to the way she wants them to be. For instance, taxes on prostitution are being lowered, so that if anything ever happens to Emera and Chase ends up out on her own, she'll face a far smaller tax hit than, say, a merchant shipper. There you go.
It's all about the it's all about the money.
Right? Yeah, it's all about the money for her anyway.
So, where, not knowing my knowledge of realms, what major area is she located near? Like she.
Oh, Athkatla is the capital of Om. It's the port city at the north of Om, and it's the capital of Om.
Thank you. Very cool.
Or is it known in the Moonshays, the root of all evil? Oh, they hate and
my guys are starting to harass me with pings, so don't start out there, folks. All right.
Why did you bring your phone?
All right, because I needed to. Yeah. Hint number 3 for this villain. I could be considered overpowered for where I was. Correct? Yes.
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 Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really putting it out to everyone there. So, all right. Some others. BB Fan Fun asked about evil. Is this a villain or this is both? Both, Pat. There's a little hint. It's both. This is definitely a villain. Absolutely. One of the most iconic ones of all time, too. Another hint there. Kind of.
I have one more hint.
Hints.
Yeah. I think I have one more hint that would not display, and that it's also in a book.
It's in a book?
As well. Yeah.
Yes. It's in a
that villain is also
Fulton Knight, you are out. Incorrect. One more hint. Let's just get one more hint.
Yep.
I actually had a miniature made of me.
Ooh.
In the 2000s. Incorrect, Skarshack. You're out as well. Omni DD, you're out as well.
Dum, dum, dum. Oh, they're dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies.
See, I did very well on this.
Oh yeah, this one you really did.
Incorrect, Troy.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Very iconic, but still.
Incorrect, Wiley.
Remember, yeah.
Incorrect. Here we go. Last hint. Bill, you can hint. You can guess after everyone. If no one else gets it, I could be considered one of the first villains in a published AD&D adventure.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Igwilf.
Sorry, Curtis Gary.
Riley
That's a
Robb is
funny
right.
joke.
Igwilf.
Yep.
Igwilf.
Yep.
Igwilf.
And later appeared in a book, in a novel.
George Crassos got it again.
Of course.
Lareth the
Man,
Beautiful.
wow.
Yes, Cardman.
That
You
is
typed
awesome.
it in afterwards, Cardman, and George doesn't want it, Cardman.
Yep.
I will send it to you. It is Lareth the Beautiful.
Yep.
Thank you, Wiley. Yes, I did that. I did that
Cool.
right off the top of my head without any notes or anything there. So
Nice.
thank
Yep.
you
Very
very much. There's the, we have this mini, and yeah. So Cardman, I'm gonna. You were typing in as he was doing it, and so I will give it to you, Cardman. I will send you one of these. Now, here's the funny thing. One of these prints is all messed up. It's not messed up. There's a whole other adventure accidentally printed inside it. So you're going to get Vindictus the Terrible first, whatever that is, and then you're going to
wow.
Yeah, look, it's misprinted, and then you're going to get the Endless Stare after it. So, and Cardman, I do think you have I do think I have your address there. So,
but notice. George knows all this.
He does. What a great one. Great job there for getting it. Bill, were you going to say that, Bill, as well? Yeah. So, really a wonderful a character I wished I had not killed off early. You don't know any better when you're young, right? What a great character. You don't think about bringing him back. Oh, Anna kind of froze.
Underused.
Yeah.
And I still think that,
you're right.
If Lolf loves him so much, she should bring him back.
That's a good point too. Yeah, he's a human warrior.
2 ways.
Yeah. You zonked out, Anna, for about 15 seconds. Lareth is a human worshipping Loth, very rare, right? And that was another hint there. So okay.
Let's see if I
have
or not.
heard that he wasn't Lareth supposed to be switched over to Zuktmoy.
I hope not.
At some point, it was a typo that it was still Lolf.
I hope
so.
Well,
why
not.
The Beautiful was worshiping the demon queen of fungi, I don't know, but
yeah,
Lolf is perfect.
But wait a minute, is it worship, or is it? Oh, I can get 5 things more by pretending to worship for now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so good that the god won't touch me.
So
I can defy gods. I can trick gods. Oh boy, am I a villain. It could be that.
It could be, especially with Lolth, who has a history with the Klavdra of having a revolving door on her priesthood.
Yes.
So yeah,
that makes sense.
But what a great early villain. Just perfect. Just so pretty and beautiful and stuff. All right, so here's one. Build a Mastercraft was going to like this, and BB Fan Fun, you asked about the enemy of my enemy. So we're going to go to the Marklands book. All right?
Ooh.
Yes, if I hit the right button here. In the Marklands, there's a whole fighting going on in the Vespi Forest. In the Vespi Forest, there are Selbit orcs, indigenous to the Vespi, that are evil, that are Grumps worshippers, that hate with a passion the Iusian orcs. The name of the organization, the legendary Torch of Grumsh, led by Grekton Selric. Now, there's only like 2 paragraphs on this, but we developed this up hugely in our campaign to the point where Bill's character, he has a half-orc named Jonar. They kind of bonded because they're all the enemy of my enemy is my friend. These orcs want the Iusian orcs out of the Vespi. Pluck your eye out and join. Yeah, exactly, Bill. So note that, all right, evil here needs good or needs neutrality or needs other allies to get the other evil, the worst evil, out. And then we'll start fighting again once we get the other worst evil out. So there's your idea of, is there a spot where evil may not necessarily be villain, but they're villains. They're villains. Grumps worshipping orcs that want you to pluck your eye out and kill all the elves, but there you go. I just love this because they hate the Greater Boneheart and everything, and they really, it's a fun, I love 3-way interaction in the game. I really do. There's a third party moving around. So that's one for me out of the Marklands. So there you go. All right, Anna, you got one, and then we'll.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I hope my internet connection has stabilized now.
It has. It has.
Okay, good. Yep. So we have these kind of natural there are limitations and there are problems with villains, especially at low level. Meaning, what do you do when you have high level party? You can throw almost anything at them, especially in I guess in later editions. But what do you do when you want to have a more persistent villain for low level characters and a low level party? And that means that you want to make a villain that is terrifying and can be a real threat but why doesn't he just wipe out the party and kill the characters or something? And that means that you have to put limitations to villains to make them interesting. And when I started this Shieldland campaign, they started in a village that was actually run by Iusian priests. And I was thinking, why didn't they just kill the troublemaker characters right away? And so I have to kind of come up with a reason why there was restraint on their evilness, so to speak, and their villainy. And one of the things I think, but okay, most villains are probably lazy. They don't want to do everything themselves. And so when Iusian cultists have run a village for a while and killed off most of them or made them undead or sent them off to slavery or whatever heinous things they want to do, they trim down the population so much so soon they have to go in the fields and create the food or do things and that's no fun. So you need people to torment, or you need underlings and citizens and whatever you call them. They're not citizens, but underlings or slaves or something, in order to continue to exist and have a lazy life. So that's basically what they've done. There was like only the bones of bare bones population. So that was their restraint, so to speak. They couldn't start killing more people in the village or chase them off or something like that. So they had to start treating people with some sort of basic dignity just to make sure that they had enough workers to do the chores that were needed. And that was the basic stuff. So that kind of put the limit. And that wasn't because that was a limitation that me as a DM have to start thinking about in the story and on the fly at times, meaning how much could the characters taunt these poor Iusian priests and cause difficulties? When did their patience actually run out? And there was that hidden that was wisdom and intelligence, so to speak, meaning the highly intelligent ones and they could kind of see longer, so to speak, and could realize. But as soon as if they had lower wisdom, but thankfully priests, clerics in D&D, they have high wisdom, but they don't necessarily have to have high intelligence. So they could sense if the characters were up to no good, so to speak, but they were not really smart enough to figure out long term. So that meant that they didn't have that much of a patience. If the characters did fun stuff, so to speak, then and caused mayhem or problems, then get rid of them very quickly. But then you can have the more intelligent Iusian priest. And my top priest in the village was Kershink. He was a 6th level Iusian priest, and he was the kind of smart guy. And he actually sought this position way out in the boondocks because he realized that it's not that good to be close to power. You get to do all the dirty work for the high ups, and that's nasty, and you don't live that long. So he was one of the few Iusian priests to realize, I want to survive, but I still want to thrive, and I'm too scared to leave the cult because that's and he felt it was kind of doomed. You can't go over to the good side and say, I used to serve Ius, but now I want to serve you guys. So he realized that to take a posting out in one of the obscure little places far away from power, that meant that I can go there and have my own little fiefdom, and no one would pay any attention to it. So he was that kind of thing. He was not overly villainous, but he was willing to do whatever it took if need be, so to speak. And then he had run it for some years, but so he was kind of nice to some degree, and then he just got he was fed up with you. So I literally made a roll. I said it's 25% chance every time they trigger him he will go berserk and just kill them all. But I will always hint at him losing his temper first. So if they ran for the woods, then he would basically ignore it for the time being, so to speak, unless he could sense that they had a way of going away from the village and tell someone else what was going on. Then he will go after them. So long as they stay in the village, it didn't cause too much mayhem. And that was my kind of idea of putting restraints on villains, because some villains, especially low-level ones, need restraints, but they need to be logical from an in-game setting perspective.
It's good. Is he still alive?
Nope. He was victim number one in the uprising when they liberated the village. So,
that's awesome.
So yeah, he was number one. And that also meant that it was interesting because the players turned on him first, which meant that I played him well because they didn't like him. They hated him more than the other one. So they actually killed him before they killed Vakunis. So
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to go to Ed, and then we're going to go to Eric for the first hint of the last secret one. Yes. So Ed, how about one that you love out of that you've written up, published source? What do you think? Something that a villain you just love.
And just give a hint about this villain.
Well, no, we can talk about him. Talk about him or her. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone you just.
I'm just wondering. I think the sort of villains that I find most interesting are the ones that are making moral choices in front of our eyes. So in this case, it would be Mandaril, who was an apprentice of Manchun.
Okay.
And in one of my novels, in front of your eyes, you see her going into Manchun's bedroom. And then you later see her trying to make a decision as to whether she should stay as part of this organization. Now, ultimately, events take some of that decision out of her hands, but we are seeing somebody who is playing the game for what they can get as a personal gain, rather than loyalty to, I'm going to hitch my star to this big bad guy and rise and fall with him. It's like, I'm going to make my own decisions, not just for me and what I get out of it, but this guy's he's being too willfully damaging to this world I'm in. Maybe I should no longer support this guy, play ball with him. What should I do? So you get to see the moral decisions in front of you, and that makes it for a far more interesting villain than watch me, twirl my mustache and do this thing again. It's like, no, I'm thinking about this all the time. And I'm deciding, do I continue to do this? Or is it time to retire? Or is it time to betray this person and be a good guy or help the good guys for 5 minutes? And then fade away because I know that they will then be looking for me to execute me for what I've done in the past or whatever, or they'll just eliminate me because they know they can never trust me. So after I betray this guy, I got to get out of here, and then you can play it for fun. Like, for instance, to put this in a movie context, the Thomas Crown affair. And, are we betraying Thomas Crown? Are we not betraying Thomas Crown, but the good guys have caught me, so I have to pretend to play along? What is it? And can it change in front of our eyes? Can I wait until the right moment and then, bug out? And then there's the other thing that we saw, say, in the Red movies, where they've retired, and then somebody comes to do your dirty just to eliminate you, to silence you forever. And you go, okay, my own side is coming for me. Now what do I do? Do I go quietly? Do I go down? Or do I teach these buggers a lesson?
I hate to say this, but that's what happened with Tommy Lee Jones in that Steven Seagal movie on the ship too, because they tried killing him, and he's like, "I'm just gonna take over the battleship." I mean, it's really a bad analogy, I know, but you're saying the same thing. Yeah, it's like that's where that line gets crossed. That's a good one. She's very calculating. It sounds like it.
Yeah, she is. Well, here's the thing. She, at one level, she's ruled by her desires, lust. And another rule, she's by her love. I admire this guy and I'm starting to love him, but that'll mean my death sooner or later. When do I cut loose? When do I betray? When do I run for the hills? And then it's the moral things. What am I thinking from? Way more interesting to discover, because after all, in a really good long-running D&D campaign, if it's a campaign as opposed to one shot, you want the players to start making moral decisions with their characters. Mm-hmm. And there's what better way is to show you the villains making them. And then you could say things like, oh, well, if the villains are making moral decisions, what's wrong with you guys? Why can't you make moral decisions? Anyway.
Speaking of that, let's push. Whoops! I hit the wrong button. Woohoo! It's all right. I hit the wrong button. It happens once a show. Let's push. This is out. Yes, this is out. And I got it in PDF already. I wanted to be ready for this discussion here by you, Alex Cameron, Alan Patrick. It's very cool. I want to go to page 24 and I want to read something. Right here. Yes. Okay. So you got Darlan Ma. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay. So, and he talks about, so he's a separatist.
Yes.
Okay. But down here, it says, no matter how much gloss is applied to a red wizard, their motives are inherently evil. No matter what good they're willing to perform upon their road to conquering Thay, the end result is, and always has been, total domination and subjugation of Thay, its people, and its holdings. Very well put. So you know where you stand right there with those villains. They're all villains. Yeah. I wanted to share that. That was awesome.
Yeah. But notice what Darlan Ma is doing. He's setting up a shadow cabinet, which you see in the product there. He's setting up a shadow cabinet where Zastam has these Zulkirs. Okay, I have guys and gals on my team who are pretending to hold the same Zulkir rate. So they're spying on the real one. They're undermining the real one. They're trying to co-opt other red wizards. So this is a very long game. This is when would be the right time? We're having fun with this. It's because, and we don't want to make the decision for any DM who buys the product. That's up to you, what you do in your campaign. Yeah. We're just setting it up to be, look how much fun you can have with this.
Absolutely. So I loved I've been skimming through it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Awesome description there, Ed, of this. And I would recommend anyone who's a Forgotten Realms aficionado, or if you want to use some of this for other campaigns outside of FR, please pick it up.
Well, I should say one thing. Darlan Ma is Alan Patrick's baby.
Okay, great.
And from the Adventurers League, there have been adventures. And that and the Weavebound Paladin and to some extent Circle Magic, that's him playing. Because when you work on a product, you should get to do stuff that lights your fire. And that was the stuff that lit his fire. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So, here we go. Eric, you have...
I do, although I do have a question.
A great one, sure.
Which came first? Evil villains or wearing of the red outfits? Because Greyhawk has red outfit villains as well.
Yeah.
What, Scarlet Brotherhood?
I'm wondering, like, are there any good red outfit?
Oh, Star Trek came first. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Mooks who died approved the danger of a situation. Yeah. Or I guess you could be neutral wizards from Dragonlance.
Dragonlance. The red was neutral and the white was, right. That's true. Based on the moon phases. Yeah, good one. Absolutely, Eric.
Alrighty, so guess that Greyhawk villain. This is one of my favorites.
There you go.
For clue number 1. I've been called a wizard, an artificer, and a madman.
Oh,
There you go. There's the hints.
Clue number 1. I've been called a wizard, an artificer, and a madman.
Yes, I don't. So, GD, you're out. That's incorrect. Red Wizard of the Bright Lands. No. So there's only one that's taking a stab in the dark at that. This is a good one. So, why don't Eric? While we'll throw out another one in a second. Give me another Moonshade villain if you so choose.
Going back. Well, a treasure trove of NPCs in Greyhawk comes from this book.
Okay, let's do that.
By my hero, Doug Niles. Have I mentioned how much I like Doug Niles?
Yeah, it's a fantastic book. Fantastic.
And I love this one section here of Evil ×3, where they give 3 Nemesis NPCs.
Eric, they got it already. Sinister SOB, Eli Tomarast. Oh my gosh, first guess. How come you guys are amazing?
Yeah.
Got it already. Wow. All right, we'll talk about Eli.
You're getting the other 7 clues. I wrote them.
I'm the only one that got this. I got the 4 at least. Oh my gosh, you guys are so Sinister. I need your full name and address. If you can want to whisper that to me, and you will get the non-messed up endless stare from Ed by Ed Greenwood. Okay. All right. Very cool. Yep.
Clue number 2.
Yep.
Yanogu thought I was too good at being bad to stay dead.
Oh, good.
oh,
clue.
that's a yeah.
Clue number 3. I've prepared 8 hints, the same number as the points on the star symbol of the organization that I'm part of.
Okay.
4. Sometimes I hang with the priests at the Forgotten Temple of Thraston. 5. I chanced upon the lost city of the elders, and I want to go back. 6. My hands are the profane claws of a demon. Number 7. Curse it, curse it, curse it. And number 8. I gave Morden Caden a fantastic adventure.
Yes. That's
and
awesome.
that was going to be, if you don't get it, you guys don't know. You're all
Yeah, right.
I got on the first. Yeah, people. So very cool.
So I will sing my praises of Eli Tomarast as a fantastic villain. And I want to give a huge shout out to Mike Bridges, who shares my appreciation of this.
Yep.
As
Absolutely.
him.
And that's
He's
Mike.
a marvelous villain. Why? Well, one is he's pretty much in your face from the beginning of the Morden Caden's Fantastic Adventure. He is a very active villain, and you will learn to hate him by the time you get through that adventure. And unlike Lareth the Beautiful, he has a backstory.
Yeah, it's true. Lareth doesn't have
and
one.
It's a good backstory. And it's so full of interesting twists and turns. Like, what is this lost city of the elders? Who are these seekers? What is he doing here? It's such a great, flavorful backstory, and it grounds him in the adventure. It lets me as the DM figure out what Eli would do in certain circumstances, what his goals are, how he's going to torment the players. And it just, all that information really helps me. But it's flexible enough that I can twist it in certain ways as needed, depending upon how the players go.
Great.
And then mechanically, he's got these claws that do all sorts of wacky things. So that when the players run into him, it's like, it's another wizard. We know how to handle wizards. Tomarast. This guy has claws that do all sorts of cool things, and so it keeps the players. Oh yeah, kind of like Wolverine. One claw. I gotta go look it up. He also has claws. One claw does one thing, one claw does the other. If he slaps them together, he gets all sorts of defensive bonuses or offensive bonuses. It gives the DM so much flexibility to keep the players guessing. And so you can do things, and if you need to cheat it, for example, if he fails a save that you really need him to make, he can just put his hands together and pamps out of it if needed. So it gives the DM a lot of tools to work with, and also toys. Yeah. As a DM, I really like having toys to play with at the table. And Eli does that really well. So
good one. That was a great one. It was a great one.
Great one.
Wow, and Sinister SOB got it in the first guess. That was really good. Really,
that well I was wondering because that was a quote straight out of the adventure.
Yep, very nicely done. So Eric, you had the free cigar copy. You're going to talk about someone in there, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. Speaking because this was also Mike Bridges. He directed everyone to Andrade
Maris.
Yes, the Patriarch of Nayrol, who is a cool villain.
Yeah.
My favorite is actually 2 pages later. Varmai, the Cursed One.
Yes.
Who is the good warrior who goes off into the woods and finds an evil artifact and proceeds to diabolize herself. Well, gets diabolized and turns into an evil mage. And just the fact that if you set this up well, to have interactions with Vermai in the beginning, and they were sympathetic and good, and the players enjoyed her, interacting with her, then she just keeps going badder and badder. It becomes personal for the players and for the characters, and they're invested.
This character's on page 79 of Folks, Feuds, and Factions, and is a 3-stage character in this book, which is very unique for its time. Okay, so yeah.
Doug Niles was the man.
Yeah, he was. I mean, this is it's my favorite of all time publication as far as references go. Great one. Great
and
one.
I love how there's different ways to go with it. I mean, you could just go pound her and kill her, but there's also ways, if you want to, if the players do the research, they can try to break the curse on her, or they could. And so it has the entire discovery angle of those 3 pillars that D&D is built on. Because so you start with the role playing to build a connection with her, and then how you deal with her can either go combat, or it could go into the discovery of hunting down a cure to break her curse, which leads to more adventures, which is what villains are supposed to do. Is they're supposed to provoke the players into actions, and she does it marvelously.
Yeah. And
so she's one of my favorites.
And it's a hidden gem villain, because a lot of people don't know, because this publication's from the late 80s. So you don't know about it unless you follow this show and follow in Cannon Fire Discord or whatever in Greyhawk. You got to know about it, and that's a great thing. And that's why one of the reasons why we love doing these discussions is give you some tidbits. All right, hey, give us another newbie, right? You want to give us that third Forgotten Realms newbie you got there? How about that?
Oh, okay. So let's think of. Let's see. A seemingly kindly, wrinkled old halfling grandmother in Waterdeep.
I love it already.
Who often manipulates the Xanathar by feeding it false information that the Xanathar, the beholder, trusts, and who operates her own secret network of 6 spies / ruthless assassins. So let's go. Think a gentle, soft-voiced, plumper and shorter version of Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. Okay, so she has the apron and the floral dresses and the gray hair in a bun and all of that, but she's a halfling and she's kindlier. And let's see, this one you get Nobra Highcandle, and she's neutral evil. She delights in playing a trembling old coot, beloved by halflings for nursing the sick, mending torn clothing, and her kindly advice. But she fully intends that she shall be the true ruler of Waterdeep ere she dies, never openly, because she doesn't want to have to cope with all the assassination attempts and demands for attention in her time, but steering the City of Splendors in accordance with her will. She'll control key masked lords, key crime lords, key guild masters, and key nobles to do it. And she'll co-opt the wannabe nobles, the rich social climbers who want to be lords and ladies, but they weren't born noble, to be her energetic agents without realizing it. Any of them. They're just repaying a favor to a kindly old halfling grandam to look good. Wah!
That's awesome. Wow. That one, I would be like right on top of it using it if I was playing that for. Oh my gosh, I love that one. Wow. Did you set a rough age for her if it's a halfling, just a grandmother age, so like 60s,
Grandmother
70s?
age. Yeah. She can be anything.
That's awesome. Here comes in Time Lord's wife for a raid. Hey, Rob, I know you're DMing over there. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. As Ed walks over to get something and probably getting a book that is going to. What a fun.
Just slide to the side.
Yes, what a fun discussion so far. We're having tonight here. Thank you all. We saw 4 giveaways. Okay. We got 4 Troll the Game giveaways. Your choice of a PDF or Forgotten Realms. Listen to me, Forgotten Realms. Oh my gosh, Fantasy Grounds publication that they have. So please hang in there, and thank you over there, Rob. I hope you had a great game. And I know some people. I saw Robert Hartley rated into you, which is awesome. Very, very cool. Hopefully, Ed will be back in a second. Ed's probably getting something. Ed's getting something scary. We got Ed Greenwood and Eric Menge on. Ed's laughing.
Yeah, we lost audio.
We lost your audio, Ed.
Is it on now?
Now it is, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Haha, too late. You fools. Too late.
So, all right.
Yep.
I am going to go to one of the oldest publications you possibly can find for a villain from, I'm assuming Greyhawk. We'll find out in a second. From Lawrence Schick.
Oh, that is old. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. It's one of these?
No, from this. From the Rogues
yes.
Gallery. Okay.
Yes.
I have that one here somewhere. Yep.
Brian Bloom, Dave Cook, and Gene Wells wrote this. I think it's 1980. Okay. So we're going to go down there. And in the back, there's all these player characters from the campaign.
Yeah.
And we go back here, and I think it's. We go.
Is this where, like, Morden Kane, they were saying, oh, if you want their character sheets, are all in that book over there, too?
There's a lot of great stuff here. Lanolin, player Lawrence Schick, Chaotic Evil, Elven Fighter Mage. So that doesn't get any worse than that, yes. So
he's the anti-melf.
Yeah, exactly. As much anti-melf as you can get here. Yeah. So it says he originally was a chaotic neutral, but it says there's no one alive who can actually attest to having him seen committing overly evil act. So he's kind of a little sneaky with it. But he said that his deeds kept on getting worse. Worse. He's totally unscrupulous, and just no personal wrong goes to him without its revenge, which I love. So he's very vengeful. So if you want to throw a character in that I don't recall being in any publication anywhere that is from the original game, that is from a legend of the game, here you go. Lanolin.
Yeah, I don't remember this guy at all.
Exactly.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, Ed, yeah. Did you ever play with Lawrence Schick, Ed?
Tom does. Let's ask George. George, do you remember this character?
Yeah, or Alan Hammock, Lawrence Schick, any of that crew? Did you tangle with them?
I watched at an early Gen Con because I couldn't get a seat at the table. Remember, I was a nobody. I was just a kid from Canada attending Gen Cons. Okay. But one of the things they did in the early Gen Cons is deliberately, there was standing room, and you could stand there and listen and watch over the shoulders of the people playing. And if you said something at the wrong time, you'd be ejected. Something that would affect play. But you could just sit there. And so, yes, I watched Lanolin being played.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, but that was It was
okay. Great. That's good. First-hand knowledge of actually who came first, Ed?
See the evil and escape.
Who came first, Ed? Elaith, Kral Nober, or Lanolin? That's a question from George.
Lanolin by years.
Lanolin by years.
Lanolin for years in the game, but remember Elaith crawling over the serpent. The realms was a story world before D&D existed, and Elaith was in my story world before there was D&D. But in terms of a published character, Lanolin by years.
Okay. Awesome. This book is fantastic for resource. Look, Morning Canaan's in here at lower level.
Yeah, there's some
Phoebus, there's
old
this
stuff.
is a great.
Yeah.
Wobblar's in here.
Mhm.
Rob Kuntz's character. I mean, we could go another villain. Just some Zeb Cook's got character in Ernie. Just wonderful. If you can get a copy of this somehow. Alan Hammock has LeServin, the Dark, who we're talking about him. He's another evil one. Just wonderful characters in this. Gormadoc's pretty funny. Grimslade, yeah. So I wanted to give this its due, because once in a blue moon I like pulling this publication out and sharing some of the characters in it. Eric's cousin, yeah, another one. Eric's cousin though appears in
PDF on the DM's Guild.
What's that?
It's on the DM's Guild.
Oh, it's on the DM's Guild. There you go.
Oh,
So
cool.
you can download it on DM's Guild. Beautiful. Beautiful. Who wants to go next?
I can go. I have one.
Go for it, Anna.
Line up. Yeah. My previous example was something to put restraint on it and to kind of limit the villain, so to speak, for low level play. But what if you, as a DM, wants to do the opposite? You want to have a no holds bar, complete crazy, bonking, evil, go on a maniac killing spree villain type. There is a group in Greyhawk that fits the bill, and they have the perfect villain for you. That is that's complete over the board. I don't think there's anyone crazier than Obmi, way crazier than Obmi, and I'm talking about the Free Reavers in I Use the Evil, and they have an Elden Bloodspitter. He's your villain. If you want the no holds barred crazy bloodlust villain, he's your guy. He's a 10th level priest of Erythnol, and just
going right to him.
Some sort of a mixture between evil barbarian and priest, and just go crazy.
There he is.
And yeah.
Great one, Anna.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about the Free Reavers, and Anna knows I love and I use the Free Reavers all the time, and I expanded their territory in the Horn Society as well. There are only 2 of them published.
Yeah.
Elden Bloodspitter is one.
Yep.
Okay. And then my favorite, though, is Sharon Valinar.
Yeah.
And
I was going to mention her, but she's more kind of a sophisticated villain.
Yes, right here. But she does the Sharon smiles, where she cuts people from ear to ear. So
Elden is just, if you just want to send something in to just kill things, then Elden Bloodspitter is your thing. And to be honest, I think this is a villain that you should talk about more and then actually show it, so to speak. And it's a villain that is a bit like what was that low budget movie where they have a monster that they never show, and it's just a horror movie that came out like 20 years ago. I forgot what the name is, but it's more like something you're threatening about, and you build and build, and then it should just go past and kill everything, basically, or something. So it's how you insert and use Elden that I think is the key here, so to speak, because he's very, very stereotypical. But sometimes maybe you just DM wants to have bloodlust and wants to kill things.
Blair Witch.
It does exactly the Blair Witch. A little bit like that. You can kind of go haywire with it, and some of my suggestions is that you can let the players witness from a distance Elden Bloodspitters, or the result of Elden Bloodspitters kind of mayhem first and stuff like that, and then they realize that, oh, we are in the target of his wrath and hatred, so to speak, or just after a while they realize it's random, he will just go on a killing spree, whatever, and he might come our way or something. So build the reputation first and then put it in there, and then it should come quickly, so to speak, and all of a sudden he's just there. But they need to know who he is, so they get real scared of him first before you introduce it in. So look at horror movies a little bit when you put something like that in. Yeah.
Here's the great thing about the Free Reavers. They hate the Iusians too.
Yes.
So if you're on the good guy side and the shield lands,
Yep.
they're going after both. They don't care. They're going after
Yep.
the priests of Ayus and all the paladins. So
and now I'm going to a couple of spoilers in my campaign, and these spoilers are devious because these spoilers would add to the fun in my campaign, or the terror, so to speak. The Free Reavers, Eldon Bloodspitter, and Sharon are villains in my campaign, current Skilllands campaign, and when they are, well, even master evil villains need to work need to have a job, so to speak. They need a gig in order to they want money coming in. So they are effectively bounty hunters. And the characters have now managed to get a fairly high up bounty on the Ayusians have put on their head for killing Bakunis and stealing his book and stuff. And the thing is that they didn't steal. They don't have the book, but they stole it. And the Ayusians were like, we want that book. And the Free Reavers realized that, this might be a good bounty, because if we find these critters, kill them, and hand it over to the Ayusians, then we can get paid. But on the other hand, we might find them and find the interesting book, and then we can sell the book or use that one. So it might be a double bounty. So they are like, they're not officially taking the bounty, but they can sniff an opportunity. And they might come sniffing the party's way simply because they are kind of interested in seeing an opportunity, so to speak, because they are in their hunting grounds, and that is kind of cool. And so there might be some kind of difficult developments, so to speak, that sense. Yeah.
Awesome. So we're getting close to time. We may run a little late. Hopefully it's okay with everyone, just a little bit. But Ed's got a new Greyhawk one, don't you? A brand new Greyhawk villain.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Yes.
So in Greyhawk, a soft-faced, mild-mannered, bespectacled, pale white guy with mousy brown hair and nondescript clothes, who's a tax clerk in the free city of Greyhawk. He quietly uses his position to learn all he can about movers and shakers like adventurers and powerful and magic folk and leaders and rulers, so he can use that info to manipulate them or arm their enemies, so he can control the politics of the city and personally benefit from it. And he's never been caught at it. His name is Laracerel Tercel. Don't worry, I'll be sending this to you, Jake. But no, Laracerel Tercel. But his small circle of friends and slightly larger circle of co-workers in the tax office, many of whom he manipulates into working for him in his villainies without fully realizing it, call him simply Race. His current project is to find and get control over all gates/portals to other planes and worlds, so he can control and profit from trades through them, so he can use them as his personal system of escape routes and swift journey shortcuts, and so he can use them to invade countries by surprise if he ever wants to, by rushing armies through them behind enemy lines or into the midst of the stronghold or the home territory of a foe. It's not that he has ambitions to control the world or rise to rule. He simply thinks that he should be able to do anything he wants to do, and that the best way to achieve that is to manipulate others without them realizing what he's doing, so he never becomes a target and never ends up with any public obligations. Doing exactly what he wants in the world and to the world is his right, because he can and he will, unlike all the fools around him who can't and won't.
A man
so
of
here
action.
we have your classic, well, he's your classic mild-mannered sociopath. I can do it, so I will do it. If I want to do it, then it's right.
Kind of reminds Wow, kind of reminds me of that guy who lived in Chicago of all the secret doors for years, right? You hear about that?
Yes.
Wow, and you don't know how many people he took care of. That's awesome, and it can be used very well. In fact, Ed, What do you think about me tying that into the nameless ones a little bit that you made from the previous?
Nice.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I'm sending you the stuff right now so you can have fun.
Awesome. Very cool. We'll talk about that during the shout outs, what's going on in my campaign with some Ed lore. So, Eric.
Yes, sir.
What do you got?
You want another Menge villain?
Sure. Why not?
We can talk about Perel Hyrath.
Okay.
Out of the pictures, he's the guy without a nose. Yeah. He's a Death Knight. So Perel Hyrath is another character from Doug Niles' books, the Druidhome trilogy. He was once a exalted inquisitor of Helm and aligned with the agents of Talos and Deirdre Kendrick to basically defeat the Earth Mother, to kill her, and replace her with the gods of the mainland. And his mad bid for power ultimately failed at the end of the adventure, at the end of the novel, and he was slain by Kane, if I remember correctly, and was perished on Ice Peak along with Deirdre Kendrick. And since we were bringing her back in the Monges, we decided to hook him on and pull him in with us because everyone loves a good Death Knight.
Nice.
And so he's back. Once again, enslaved by duty to Deirdre, and rules her court at Caer Caladir while she's off doing magical things.
Very cool that you have Death Knights in FR. That's nice. It's very cool.
This one is, as opposed to a warrior, he is much more of a general. So he is constantly surrounded by minions and all the officials of the court. And so when you fight him, you don't fight him alone. You're going to have all the different people that he has recruited, and he is still extremely charismatic and is bringing a lot of people to the slain side. And he's also incredibly lawful, which helps him maintain order in the slain.
So he's obedient too.
Mm-hmm. Follows the slain, and also demands obedience from all of his followers of the slain sworn.
Nice.
And so he is not the manipulators like Ed is detailing, but more of the diplomatic, kind of like Otto von Bismarck.
Okay.
Sitting there, putting all the pieces out on the chessboard and trying to push things around and win the war for the slain.
Grand schemer, grand coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And in order to get rid of him in the campaign for Rising Shadows, you have to peel away all of his followers. And unfortunately, because he's a Death Knight and everyone in the Slain Sworn Court is kind of damaged in some way, this is possible. They can all be exploited because he's exploiting them. If you can find out where their weaknesses lie. And over the course of several adventures, you just start pulling his minions away from him until finally at the end, you can face him alone and have a chance of winning.
Troy likes order and discipline. Troy loves the order and discipline end of that character. I imagine Tim would love the order and discipline, right, Anna? And Anna kind of would love that in a sort of militaristic way as well. That was an excellent one. I'm going to bounce back to Ed here as we're running down on time. See if there's anything that Ed, we left out there, to go over. Because you know what? We're going to have to do a part 2 on this and delve deeper because, my gosh, we just scratched the surface so far. It's just been fun so far.
Let me throw out a idea for a villain rather than a villain.
That's great. That is awesome.
Okay.
Fantastic.
A beholder. Remember how if you open your original monster manual and the beholders are geniuses? Mm-hmm. Although they never seem to get played that way.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Okay, remember if they're geniuses, they should be using human adventurers as links. Mm-hmm. They should be looking through the eyes of the human adventurers, reading the thoughts of the human adventurers, and trying to do that in such a way that the human adventurers are not even aware that the beholder is scrutinizing them. Mm-hmm. And then the beholder should just be sitting there and soaking up all the intel, all the things that these movers and shakers are doing in the world. So it knows what's happened where, when treasure's been found. Because then, as Eric was telling us earlier about the tax men who meet you at the gate, the beholder can always send other agents to do something if it wants to grab its share of the treasure or kill somebody or thwart somebody. But in the meantime, the beholder's just sitting there using adventurers as movie cameras, seeing what they see, seeing what they think, seeing the world through their eyes, and not engaging in combat, just hiding. Wahahaha.
Awesome. So, give me another Ed, Eric, Anna, who are another monster type, which would be a great manipulator. I know Mind Flayer is good, but like something that you may off the cuff. Intellect Devour is another good one. Aboleth's another good one, right?
Yeah.
Doppelgangers. There you go. There you go. Doppelgangers.
And
Doppelgangers
are supposed to be
dragons.
that way,
Yep. Would be another one.
Classical means intelligent and manipulative, greedy. Yeah. And I was thinking the location of a monster can also be where it's located can in itself be kind of an interesting, meaning I take in my Greyhawk campaign, there is a shadow dragon up in the Howling Hills, and I named her Rishnal because she appeared in early on, long back in an adventure, and the party managed to charm her. So and then after that that was not a good thing. So she actually moved and settled down up in, and there is in canon there is a shadow dragon in the Drenghus caverns up in the Howling Hills, and in my campaign I just named her Rishnal, and that's the shadow dragon, and she's growing older and wiser and so on. And meaning a shadow dragon is kind of a cool enemy, but sometimes the enemy needs the right surroundings in order to be kind of come to its right place, so to speak. And I think a shadow dragon, meaning that should be an ominous big enemy in itself. You need a place with enough gravitas in order to make the thing, meaning that it should be like a week-long slog through cold bogs and empty moors and cold wind-swept plains and then some hills. It should be hard to find, and you should almost get lost and freeze to death or whatever. Then the dragon should come one night and cause all the mayhem 6 times over before you even get to the lair and have to fight her. So meaning, so the environment you put the setting should be part of the monster encounter and stuff, not just the stat block, but the whole environment should be very critical. So, and certain monsters, no problem, you can just have a bunch of cool thugs and a bard can be at an end, but some monsters require much more of cool environment, so to speak, in order to come to its rights.
Good one. Eric, monster type?
Oh, fairy.
Yes.
I went to the fairy. Nice.
We got a lot of good traction in Living Greyhawk with a fairy by the name of Gaunt, who is a she, S-I-D-H-E.
Okay.
And this brand never, I don't believe, actually ever had an official stat block, which gave us huge latitude to do whatever we wanted. And we went with him being Gaunt was a shapeshifter, and so would take the form of actual statted monsters. But whenever you defeated the monster, you just dispelled Gaunt and he could come back. And his trick was that he was looking to advance himself in the hierarchy of the Fae and become an archfey. But because of, in our interpretation, the way the Feywild works, only mortals can cause permanent change there. So he needed to trick mortals into
That's interesting.
Getting when the adventure we had him was to get the crown of the Summer Prince and give it to him willingly. So he couldn't enchant them to do it. They had to willingly give it to him. Now they could be tricked and unknowingly give it to him. And we had a fantastic hedge maze in the middle of all of it, where the players had to run a cat and mouse game with Gaunt through the hedge maze, and that was a fantastic event. And also players get to keep killing him time and time again, and he just gets better because he's a fairy and his story isn't over yet.
Isn't that the one where you and Jose had all the pictures and Gaunt was always somewhere around in those? Oh,
Always.
man. Always, yeah. They had all this great artwork, and there's Gaunt.
We had him that he had replaced his eyes with rubies, and that allowed him to see into the mortal world. And we gave him a very distinctive voice the players learned to hate because it was kind of sharp and very intense, just like Gaunt. And he kept calling the players sweetlings.
Sweetlings, that's awesome.
And boy, that really disturbed them. And to the point where whenever I didn't even have to introduce the character, I said, and he just looks up at you and says, "Hello, sweetlings." And that was enough to have the players going, I kill it with fire.
Always, that's good.
Because they're fairies, they just you can do all sorts of wacky stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain it. It's just fairies.
Yes, Garshek said you sound like Hannibal there a little bit.
Yeah, Fae should be both loved and hated at the same time. That's
great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this has been an unbelievable fun discussion, and I'm just shocked at how quick 2 of the 3 were nailed very quickly with the audience, and that is always
We're gonna have to make harder hints.
Yes, you're gonna have to go really obscure, but we'll have to continue this discussion. Let's do a wrap up on some ideas or something you want to say to the community about villains. Some ideas or just something in synopsis. So Anna, why don't you start that off?
Well, I need to have something that, meaning we live in dire times in real world. Use that inspiration for good in your game, so to speak, and think about it and twist it in interesting ways and use it but always remember it's a game, so to speak, but it needs to have some there should be a seed of something real in there, so to speak, except the Fae, because they can go complete bonkers, but and realize that the villains is one of the big pillars in any campaign, so they require some development in various directions and stuff, and think type of monster, intelligence, environment, motivation, and resources, and start working from there, so to speak, and kind of split them up into these, because there's a lot of dimensions to it, and you can come up with more dimensions, but those are the basic ones that I kind of work with in but I'm a very sandboxy. You can be way more narrative and stuff too, so but it's something you should think about, and also use setbacks in your own life. When you sit and wait at the DMV and use that clerk that takes forever, and the bureaucratic procedures, the weird whatever, use things, annoying things in real life. Awesome. Remember them and put them into your adventures. When you go to the Pale, you can use that, and when for instance, when you go to another country and you go through customs, there, look at how they behave, and you will have perfect city guards and stuff like that. You use the real world things that annoy you and use that for your villains. That way you can use it, be entertained even in setbacks in real life, so to speak. Yeah,
great one. How about Eric?
A good villain is a good story, and make use of that. Whenever you're creating villains, make up villains that are flavorful and memorable, both in appearance and backgrounds and actions. Give them concrete goals that the players can identify. And also, if you have a good backstory, which I hope you will, give a way for the players to find out about it, and also interact with that backstory and interact with your players, with your villains. And one of the greatest ways to do that is with foreshadowing, which Anna has mentioned that earlier, gave some examples of that, where you can hear rumors of the various NPCs that she liked that were the slaughterers, were they up in the Marklands?
Yeah, the blood spitter. Yep.
The blood spitter.
The free reavers.
Spitter of the free reavers. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that gives the foreshadowing and the build and the foundation, so that when you drop an epic villain on top of them, they're ready for it and they're prepared for it. A good villain is a great story, and you can see that in a lot of the various, like the slave lords were built upon great villains. Lord Kane's Fantastic Adventures built around a great villain. Temple of Elemental Evil great villain. It's if you not every single foe needs to be that level of development, but the big boss, or one of the ones they're going to fight.
Yeah.
Awesome, Eric. Thanks for such great insight tonight too.
Thank you.
And Ed, what a
okay. I would say two things. First, know your players, as in know what challenges them, what they like. Do they like to beat on things? Do they like to solve puzzles? And as a result, your villain should match that. And although Anna gave us a really good thing about take things from your real life and incorporate them, and remember that this is supposed to be a respite from real life. So occasionally your players should feel that they achieve something at the table, so that it shouldn't just be endless frustrations. They should feel like they get somewhere in their play session. That's number one. And then the next is the villain should get somewhere. Just as one way of telling a story, if you're plotting your next mega novel that's going to become a universe of movies that goes for decades, and you're going to retire to your own private island somewhere in the world, rich beyond the dreams of avarice, because you've come up with the brilliant new Harry Potter type thing of our time. One of the ways of when you're plotting this thing is to, in every scene, say, and what does character X want to get in this scene? And what does character Y want to achieve in this scene? And of course, that's a great way of dungeon mastering stuff, because if you know what your character, whether your character is a Kenku or a Flumph, whether your character is the mirror image version of a player character that's about to fight it, whatever it is, what does this NPC want in this encounter? What are they trying to get beyond stay alive? What are they trying to achieve? What's their aim? So if for your major villains, and by major, I don't mean necessarily powerful. They could be the kid next door who wants to jump out, like in Crocodile Dundee,
That's a knife.
And pull his knife. Yeah. No, that's
I know exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't matter what level of villain they are, but major important to your play session tonight, the play session you're doing right now, the important villain, what do they want? What's their ultimate aim, and what's their immediate aim? What are they aiming for in life, and what do they want right now? Because it doesn't matter what crazy stuff the players at your table do, and guess what? They will not follow the script. They will go off script. They will zag when you wanted them to zig. You know how to play that NPC because you know what the NPC wants. So you know when the NPC says, oh, I better dive out the window and live to fight another day. Or, I'll bluff these people. Or, oh my goodness, they picked up the cursed item. Now what do I do? Well, you'll know what they're going to do because you know what their immediate aim is and you know what their long-term aim is. They shouldn't just be punching bags for the player characters. They shouldn't just exist. Hi, I am evil. My name is Snively Whiplash. Did I mention that I'm evil? And look, I have tied this damsel to the railway tracks. Why did I do that? Because I'm evil. Did I mention that I was evil? You want your villain to be doing more than that. You want your villain to be heading somewhere. Yeah. Anyway, there. I'll shut up now because I talk way too much.
No. May I share with you, with the audience, Ed, a quote you gave to me in our chat? Can I share?
Sure.
All right. So Ed and I were talking the other day, and Ed and I really, I think, kind of have the same kind of style when it comes to DMing and thought. And so I want to share this. I thought this was really, really unbelievably well put. And this is from a Discord message. Okay. So Ed said the following to me: playing D&D should start out exciting, but end up just really relaxing and feeling satisfied as we save the world again with true friends. I think it's just such an awesome statement, Ed. Thank you.
That's life.
Yeah,
that's life.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, no. I mean, it was such a wonderful statement because it sums up my DMing style. It just does. And that's. I think that's why I think that's why 2 drink minimum is going so well, because it's just like, wow, it's just like we play to enjoy each other's company, and that's what you got to remember, you know, with D&D. That's what it's meant for. It's meant for you, and I've been doing it for 42 years with my friends. Just get together and play, you know, and that's kind of that's kind of what want to bring to everyone else out there to understand that. Just have fun with it, you know. So
yeah,
what a great.
That's what it's for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a great discussion tonight. Let's do some shout outs, and then we'll do the 4 giveaways. Now, remember that this were the 4 giveaways. These are the same type of giveaways that they were giving out during the fundraiser. So what we will do is when you win, we're going to put you in touch with Chuck, Troller Chuck, on the Troller Game Gift Card if you're not already a member, and then you get to pick whatever you want from Troller Games, whether it's a Fantasy Ground game or a PDF of anything of theirs, just not compilations. You want Starship Warden PDF? It's yours. You want the Castle Keeper's Guide, the brand new one? It's yours. So that's a great thing. So let's start with Eric. What's going on, Eric?
Well, we are wrapping up the Rising Shadows I've been talking about incessantly throughout this entire thing because it's dominated my life for the past 3 years. Rising Shadows is a storyline through the Adventurers League set in D&D Adventurers League set in the Moonshays. It was 20 trilogies, 60 adventures. It was a massive undertaking. It has now finally all been premiered at the various conventions, and we are doing the final polish to get it up on the DM's Guild where people can download it and play it at their home games as well. So we have up through 15 on the guild. 16 is locked and loaded, and I'm sending out 17, 18, 19 to the editors the next couple of weeks. So it is done. If you want to find out more about it, you can find the full list of it at mythmakers.com/moonshays.html. If you just go to mythmakers.com, you'll find it with a sublink right into it.
Yeah.
And that's my little studio that I have with Savannah and some other people that help me make all these wonderful things.
And just note, and I know Eric, I don't want to bring back something Eric's a little sad about, but Talawick will be on a little hiatus for next week's adventure, as Talawick is away, as Eric's away on a family vacation. So I have the great MJ Russell.
Why is he crying? He will stay alive.
You the date on me. You're the hair lord, I can tell.
So,
my Talawick is my
thank you, George.
Who is the has a foe is the hair lord, which is kind of like the cat lord.
Yeah.
But it's a rabbit.
What a great
Watership Down crossed with D&D.
Halfling Guardian. So MJ is bringing in her character Dylan from the Slav Squad. Triple class cleric mage thief, a jack of all trades character to fill in for a 6th character in the group, and so just for one shot, yes, a Slav Squad.
Has to be replaced by 3 different characters.
So Eric, thank you, man. What a great time, and we hope you have a great vacation too. So
thank you. It's going to be fun to go down and see family and hang out with Savannah and her family as well.
That's awesome. Anna, what's up?
Well, I had a blog post that I was supposed to post a few days ago, but real world events have kind of delayed me for a couple of days, but it is underway. That will be to my mid-tier patrons. That will be with heraldries, backstories, and stuff on my Shieldlands campaign, concentrating on heraldry, and so that is coming very soon. And then they will be working on the other half of all the Atlas maps for the 2022 Atlas that I hope I can have. Yeah, the goal is to have that done before GaryCon, and hopefully I can have it done in a week or 10 days. Yeah, unless the world blows up too much, then we'll see. But I'm working on it, so it will come. And then there's some other stuff that Jay will talk about that I'm involved in too. So
yes, I mean we will tidbit this. It's a momentous things going on with so much going on, which is wonderful. But I want to Anna, and thank you as always. We got such a stacked week coming up. But Ed, let's go. I know you want to talk about your latest publication here, and I just got to bring it back up because I kind of let me do that here.
Oh yes,
that
one.
Yes, this one here. So let me go back to this. And that is this recent one here. Okay, there we go.
Ta-da!
Yep.
Yes. There is a great gentleman that some of you know called Alex Kammer, and he
Awesome.
runs Gamehole Con. And he and I like to collaborate with various teams of people, creators, to have fun in the realms. We did the Border Kingdoms last year, and this is Thay, Land of the Red Wizards. So we are taking a place in the realms that never really got coverage, its own geographical source book, because every time anybody did Thay, they went straight to the Red Wizards and the Zulkirs and spells and Zastam and Wampa Wampa Wampa, which is sort of like trying to understand the United States of America by going inside the White House and only inside the White House and not telling you anything about the country outside the White House. You know, and so what we wanted to do was bring you the land of Thay. There's recipes in there. You can cook dishes from Thay. There's a tour. There's 2 tours of Thay. There's the official tour, which has all the rulers, the Tharshians and the Tharshianesses, and all the stuff about population and exports and imports, all that gazetteer stuff. And then there's a second tour done by Shel Mazra. If you look on that cover there, you see that nice lady in the blue who's pointing at the map? Yeah, that's Shel Mazra. And she represents the Angharad merchant cabal, and she travels all over Thay all the time. So, and she's a little bit of a snob, but Elminster says she's not nearly as bad as some of the Thayans he's run into. So, but she tells you where to stay, where to eat, where to avoid. If you're going to be seen praying to Bane in the temple, which temple you go to be seen by the important people, all this stuff. So she wanders around all the cities of Thay doing that sort of tour. So that's one thing I'm doing. And that's great fun. You can buy that right now. You can buy it as a physical book. Looks like a Wizard's glossy hardcover if you want. Mm-hmm. Now, I have another project I've got in the works that'll probably come out in the summer on the DM's Guild, a Volo's Guide. Volo's going to another city.
Nice.
Yeah, Volo's. Yeah, and it's a city you've seen before in the realms, in passing twice, covered in a paragraph each time in one, but it's not the main part of the Sword Coast, and it's not a big area. It's a city, and we will give you another place you can set your campaign, a detailed city. And then the people I'm working on with that team, which is a different team than with Alex and Alan, they want to do follow-up adventures, little ones. And one of them's already written, and it's almost Shakespearean. You'll see what I mean when you read it. And it's also, if you've never DM'd before and you're uncomfortable with role-playing DMing, so that you want to do everything with the dice rolls and so on, it's written to walk you through as a first-time dungeon master. If you want to talk to these people, you use this skill and you need to make this roll. If you want to fight them, you want to use this roll and this roll, and these rules will apply. Here's the page numbers. And it takes a beginning DM by the hand and says, look, we got this. Okay, so that's for the summer if it gets done in time. And the other thing I'm working on that we were talking about earlier before we went live is I'm doing Athcliath, which is medieval real world Dublin, conquered by the Vikings in the 700s, 800s, and 900s in real life, AD. Okay, but we're doing a fantasy version of Athcliath, Blackpool, which became Dublin. And we are giving you a complete detailed fantasy city. And if you can't wait for the box set and all the follow-up products, and I have been detailing city blocks for 2 years now, I'm in my 60s, like 60th something block, and there will be 96 when I'm done, 96 blocks. And there's every building has an NPC. Everybody has a backstory.
Oh my gosh.
Everything's detailed. Okay. I am working my butt off on this. If you can't wait, Andrew Volkoskas, the guy who designed Fate of the Norns, has launched a Patreon in which as we we create stuff for the city, we share it with you in little gobs.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you can have free NPCs. Well, not free, you're paying for the Patreon, but you can have NPCs, you can have adventures, you can have buildings that are detailed as we go through the city. We are going to be giving you a living city that we'll keep on doing for the rest of our lives. So you have to hope that I live a long time, folks. And I will just be giving you, and you do not have to play Fate of the Norns. Although Fate of the Norns is this cool game where you do not roll dice, you draw runes. And you could, and here the really cool thing about Fate of the Norns, you can play it at the gaming table at 3 levels. You can play it at a basic storytelling level. So your grandmother, who's never played a role-playing game before, can sit down with you.
Oh, cool.
And she says, "What do I do?" And the Norn, the DM, the Norn says, "What do you want to do?" "Oh, I want to go out the window." "Okay." And the Norn says, "Draw this rune." "Okay, you got out the window." So that's it. Or you can play it middle crunch, where you use the runes powers and you use your play sheet, or you can do it full crunch, like somebody doing all the D&D rules, weapon encumbrance and weapon speed factors, all that stuff. So you can play it at all 3 levels together in the same party at the same gaming table at the same time, if you want to. So I mean, it's really cool. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to grab this city and take it into your own campaign, whether you play D&D, Pathfinder, Fate, Savage Worlds, whatever, you can just take the city and use it. And I will have done the scut work for you so you can spend time on enjoying time with your friends and having an adventure, not detailing a city, which literally means if you get the box set for this thing and somebody says, "Screw that, we're going into that building." No problem, it's there. "Oh, I changed my mind. I'm spinning around on the doorstep and I'm going over into that building." No problem, it's there. I've done it all. There you go. You can have fun with the adventure, not what's behind this door.
That is awesome. Because I got a set of those runes for Balfrin at PAX Unplugged, and so I thought that was what I got.
Aren't
for
they
them.
cool?
Yeah, they are neat. They're really neat.
And
They're
by
really
the way,
nice. They're nice.
There's a free downloadable adventure called Fafnir's Treasure, which is an introductory adventure, and it has pages of the runes that you can just print out, and then you could just stick them on cardboard, cut them out.
Balfrin, can you link that, please? Link that in chat, please, if you could.
Then you just grab a bag, old time gamers, it's a Crown Royal bag, but it can be any bag that you can't see through.
That's awesome.
Like you can go to the supermarket and get a plastic bag, as long as it's a dark one and you can't see through it. And you just take all these cutout runes and throw them in the bag. And now you're ready to play. You have your own set of runes. You don't have to buy a set of Elder Futhark runes. You can if you love the game, because it's really cool to have tablets like Scrabble tiles with the runes on them that have weight and mass and so on. But
or
you can
Rummy Cub. Using that bag for Rummy Cub tiles too. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's right. But you can just literally.
So cool.
I have seen kids do this at an adventure. I've seen them take they had a writing pad, and the back of the writing pad has a stiffener sheet of cardboard, and they just peeled it off and they drew all the runes with a Sharpie on cardboard, and then they cut out the chits and they were playing. Or you stick them on pennies. You take good old fashioned American or Canadian or whoever's pennies, and there's some of the EU coins are small enough to be the right size, and you just take those little round Avery or whoever's brand sticky labels, white labels, the white dots, and you just put one on each penny and you draw the rune on it. That works too.
Thank you, Bal, for linking that. So Balfrin linked that downloadable
excellent.
there. Awesome. Thank you so very much.
Warning, if you're going to run Fafnir's Treasure with your mother or your grandmother or young kids, read it first.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Because it can go dark. I didn't write it. I had nothing to do with this. I just sat at the table going, "Oh my gosh, we would have been in such trouble if we did this in the old TSR days." Oh!
Such an awesome Ed, you always got so much going on, which is fantastic. I know how you feel now, I think a little bit, right, Anna? So here's what's going on in our little neck of the woods.
Tell me.
Yeah, so Wednesday nights. I'll do this real quick. Wednesday night, Legends of the Lord, Living Greyhawk Ket. So we have never had the Ketites from Living Greyhawk Era on. Casey Brown will be joining Mike Bridges, Anna, and myself, along with a couple Ket guests, go over their experiences during Living Greyhawk. So it's a new area that we've never had before. Thursday night, the date is wrong. I didn't update this. We finished Portents of a Great Apocalypse Part 3. This is the Salakra lore that Ed provided, linked in with the Doom Grinder. Okay, the remake of it. Yes. Okay, so that is Part 3 of that, and that will be this Thursday. The date I forgot to update it. So sorry about that. Saturday, you'll see Ed and Anna return with Tony Winslow Brill and Eric Boyd and MJ, and our very special guest, the actor Todd Stashwick, will be joining us playing Morton Didiff, a cousin of the son of Melf, Luke Gygex's cousin Eleator. So we have 4 mages in the party now. We have Ravalantar, 2 fighter mages, because he's a fighter mage, and a Clark mage thief. So, but it'll be fun.
He's gonna throw such stuff at us.
You know what's gonna happen. So I cannot wait for that. And another thing is, Todd has this great book out. He has nerd. Let me link his. I think I got his link set up here. There's his IMDb and Nerd Circus, his store. He has this Mystic Libations book, which is critical cocktails for the thirsty adventurer. All right. He gave this one, he customized to me, and I shared this, but I'll share it one more time if I can find where is it? Oh my gosh, I can't even find what he wrote here. Here we go. And he says, Jay, may you always roll at advantage. Long live Greyhawk, because he does love Greyhawk, so that's wonderful. We're going to give one of these away, signed by Todd. Also, we're going to give away his dice sets as well. On that Saturday stream, along with our Stratagem Wiz Dice normal giveaways. So that'll be this Saturday, 6 p.m. EST for that group. It'll have a nice 6-character group there. That'll be a big one. And then next Sunday's Gabbin. Myself and I haven't told Tim yet he's being on this one, but we got so many new people in the community. We're just going to go over the areas that I venture in and just talk about them. Talk about the areas that Anna ventures in. So Greyhawk campaign development, Orderville gaming locations, Shieldlands, Vespi. We'll go over some of them and just give you some ideas for adventuring, and that'll be a fun one for next Sunday. And then down the road, Tim, who's going to get me banned for 30 days, and his Rivers of the Barrens, Saturday morning, the 19th, where the children are insane. Oh boy! So the Rovers can. Tim, there he is. There's the ever mysterious Tim, and that's what's going on. All right, one big announcement. Anna and I had a meeting, and we're gonna have some contracts coming over. And I have the Free City of Altamira, and it's never been developed to the point. Here's my freaking map for it. Look at how basic this is, right? The rough sketch. It's going to be turned into hopefully a full box set. The Free City of Altamira. Nice. Thank you. It's going to be it's stripped of the Greyhawk plum and circumstance a little bit, but it'll be able to be placed in Greyhawk and aired both locations, and so that's coming. But that 9 months to a year that's going to take. And and you said you've been working on yours for 2 years, so yeah, that's down the road. And note that also Anna and myself and Mike. We have multiple shows at GaryCon and Alyssa Faden. We have the Fantasy Mapping Show at GaryCon. We have Legends of Lore at GaryCon. I'm DMing at GaryCon. I'm playing in a bunch of games. Ed, are you participating in virtual GaryCon at all? I was asked to ask that question.
I hope to.
Okay.
Yes, I would have to do it virtually. I can't cross the border. But the reason I said I hope to is my wife's health is one thing, and my workplace is public library trying to reopen with COVID and changing their computer system at the same time because we're real sane. So maybe I will be able to, and maybe I will be languishing in a padded room somewhere.
So I'll just put you in touch with Zarathon then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. Very cool. Awesome. And if it happens, that's a great bonus to everyone that Ed could maybe run a game or two here or playing something. So just wanted to let you all know that that's what's going on. So let's do the 4 giveaways. Remember, we need to put you in touch with Chuck at Troller Games. Oh, that would have been good if I didn't close it out. Oh my gosh, Jay, I closed out my Streamlabs. It's not a big deal. I'm a mess. All right. So note the following. If you're not on the Troller Game server, you should join the Troller Game server. That's the easiest way to get in touch with Chuck. You know how if you're not in the same server, it's hard to talk initially to make that connection. So, and then note that there's no code for this because they can't make a code for every single PDF or Fantasy Ground file. They got to get you the specific file. All right. I will note everyone down here. And we'll go from there. So last call, 10 seconds to sign up, ! Drawing, and we'll do these 4 fairly rapid fire. We're going to raid into Bones tonight. I owe her a raid. I kind of changed the raid to Kefir last second on her. Remember that, Anna, from the fundraiser? So I'm going to go to Little Bones. You can also, Darling and Little Bones are playing in the same game, so you can dual watch, put them both up. Little Bones and Darling Creep Show because they're playing in a D&D game here. All right. Julie Cat, it was a great one, but that's all right. We had a fun discussion tonight and a monster crowd. Thank you all for the wonderful support. All right, closing this out. And I guarantee you Eric and Ed are going to be back for another Gabbin very soon, correct? Yes, absolutely. And maybe we'll add
many more villains.
Yes, and maybe we'll have Eric Boyd do it because Eric said he'd love to come on for one of those discussions too, and maybe get some more in-depth discussion here too, or we'll change it up with Bad J leaving her hanging. Who am I leaving hanging? Who did I leave hanging? Oh yeah, I know. Last week was Kefir gave us a $3,000 to $5,000 commission for the fundraiser when we went past $20,000. An art, a map, Ed and Eric, if you know about Cave Geek art, it takes him like 100+ hours to do. And he said, if you guys get to 20,000, I'll give this to a top donator. And we did it. We did $20,490 last weekend for St. Jude. So it was worth it. It really was. It was a wonderful, wonderful weekend. What am I doing here? And am I hitting the wrong button? Close out this. Giveaways. Oh, man. Here we go. Closing it out. Winner! All right. I know that person. That's Walt from my group. So Colpy's first. I got him. Colpy 609. Gotcha, Walt. Next winner. Began, I haven't seen you in a bit. Began 1. Okay, Began. Just make sure you're on it. I think you're on it.
Began is
on. All right, there you go. All right, Began. Are you on the Troller Game server? Do you know Chuck in chat? Just let me know. Next winner. Doc. There you go, Doc Shoulder. Awesome. Thank you, Patrick, for doing that. Doc Shoulder. Got a lot of regulars here winning this tonight, and then the 4th winner, and then sit tight for the raid because I think this may be a record. This may be a record raid above over 150 people. Last winner, Patrick. Wow, Canadian.
If anyone have earned to be,
you think? Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. All righty, beautiful. Grats winners. Thank you so very much. Eric, thank you. Anna, thank you. Ed, thank you. We'll see you Saturday for except for Eric. I'm sorry. Have fun, Eric, on vacation. Really, have fun with your family. That's going to be such a wonderful time. And we'll see you all soon. Let's set this raid up. Please sit tight. Say hello to Bones. Go into Darling Creep Show as well, and then and follow them both. They're both members of the Slav Squad. Our Slav squatters got to stick together. How about a Slav squad? Well, we do have a crossover between the both. We got one of them in, but we should have a full adventure crossover someday. That would be really cool. All right. I got to hit a right button here, and I'm not hitting right buttons right now. See you. It's like I only hit one majorly wrong button. Thank you, everyone. Oh, thank you. Please follow the stream if you haven't already. And note that we're just getting started this year in 2022. Looking forward to some really, really fun discussions, great games, and community growth for everyone. All streams involved, all right? Raiding in. Woo-hoo. Little Bones, 309. She's gonna go, oh my god, oh my gosh, 150, 162. This is a record size raid. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you Wednesday night. Oh my gosh, she's gonna die. Oh my
163,
gosh,
that was a good roll.
163.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Oh my god.
In her
That's wonderful.
mode.
Yeah, let me shut this. Hit this, shut this off.